It's January 1st.
We're
here.
We made it to another year.
Welcome to the second annual, like sixth annual for us.
Yes.
We do this every year. But
there you go.
The second annual Golden Nugget special.
Yeah.
It's the first day of 2024. It's the best day to talk about 2023.
Of course.
The only day, really.
Really the only day, because now we have to get back,
Yes.
Travis is in 2 days. So we got to start 2024.
Back into the flow.
We got to get into 2024 hard. So every
Hard
year
launch.
we come live January 1st.
Yes.
Talk about the best of the last year, right? And I think this year we made a decision based on just like the way we move through the music world this year is that we're going to be cutting this year's Golden Nugget special in half.
Yes.
And the first one is going to be about live music, shows that we've seen in the Chicago area. Although not exclusively, I hope, in the future. But, yeah. And then conversations about recorded music. Album releases, new music releases, things like that after.
I feel like we took a step in the right direction. Getting live music in here is a big jump for us, I feel.
Definitely.
It is
like good experience.
It is 100% the most common topic on the channel.
Oh, yeah.
Is like we went to this concert.
Let's talk about
it, which is going to be what the next episode is. Which, by the way, like this week's Thursday, we'll be back on Thursday for our weekly episode because we'll be talking about the Utopia tour.
Finally.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Only a couple weeks delayed.
Only a couple weeks.
Yeah, it could be worse. Action Bronson canceled for 2 days after Travis.
Yeah.
And he pushed it back to April.
I remember, I don't remember when it was. I think it was like 2019 he was touring. Maybe it was like Rolling Loud or something. He hurt his knee.
Who?
Travis. And had to like stop early.
No.
Yeah, and it's like, could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
If any artist, he's the one to get injured on stage.
Yeah.
The fans should have expected that.
All right, so Purvis, you're the one who kind of beat out our entire kind of structure for this.
Yeah.
So we're starting with live music.
Yes.
Do you want to start? Introduce us to our first topic?
Yes. I'm the doc manager. So what we decided to do, I have 5 different categories for live music, 5 different categories for recorded music, and we'll end it off with the Golden Nugget. Which is the first one I wanted to do for live music, which actually I was very excited for, was the sleeper pick or unexpected one. So what's the best concert that we saw this year that
was unexpected.
Right.
Yeah.
Going into it, didn't know what to think.
I think there's an artist that is going to loom heavy over all 3 of us for this.
Mine is pretty obvious. I've said it several times.
Huh?
For me, I've said it several times.
Yeah, I'm gonna be throwing in a twist on this one.
Okay.
Just because I know you're gonna want to talk about your girl. So.
Okay. What's yours then? You can go first.
So mine was Fly Out of Boss.
Okay.
I saw them open for Janelle Monáe. They actually have like a pretty good roster of hits. Like we saw Ice Spice. It was another one I would probably say like as an honorable mention. I know you said not to include them, but like
for live music, we can do one.
Yeah. For like Ice Spice would probably be like an honorable mention where like she was much better than I anticipated.
Yeah.
But Fly Out of Boss, I think, just has like a deeper roster of hits.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like being a little bit more underground. And I tell you, you would have thought Killer Mike and LP were on that stage and not 2 21-year-old black guys. Right?
Yeah.
Like it was the amount of energy and performance they gave.
Well, the fans love that. They're going to be right in with it.
Yeah.
So.
And like obviously it was opening for Janelle Monáe. So there's a certain type of crowd there that
Totally.
It's the right
very
demographic.
receptive to that kind. So like right crowd, right performance. But yeah, no, I would 100% say Fly Out of Boss.
And
it was like if I had to pick one, it was like my sleeper for the year.
And if I'm correct, Fly Out of Boss, the 2 female artists, is it? Okay,
so
it's a group.
Yeah.
And that's the one, at least on TikTok, where they're like running in front to the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I have an idea of who that is now. That's pretty dope though.
Yeah, no, they have a pretty good roster of hits.
Yeah.
They performed them very well. They have an intense amount of energy.
Did you feel like you recognized everything?
No. Well, kind of. Because, like, Rachel listens to them. Like, Rachel was listening to them before the meme blew up.
Okay.
So, like, obviously, like,
A true fan, yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously, like, I've heard, like, a lot of their songs just, like, in passing.
Yeah.
But, they are, like, very fundamentally hip-hop. They're not, like, a more popish take on it. They just happen to pop off on social media.
Which naturally takes that route of pop.
So, yeah, exactly. Like, that's always going to be what comes to the top. So for me, I'm definitely saying my sleeper is Fly On a Boss.
Okay, bet. I like that.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
You first. I'm curious. I want to know if we have the same.
Okay. For live music, yeah, I said at least one. I don't mention. I think it's good. So for my runner-up for my sleeper pick was Doja Cat. Doja Cat killed it. She went crazy.
I feel like Doja Cat was so good that she surpassed becoming like a sleeper to me.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about it because I wasn't on that week. But I think that might be the most elaborate or like most involved stage production in a show I've ever seen. It was really impressive.
It was up there.
That's interesting.
It was really impressive. Like just all the choreography, the different set pieces, the spider at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
The circle,
Man, the spitting.
the circle thing that she was doing in heel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane. Insane. Yeah, definitely.
Very cool show.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, that would probably my runner-up would be Doja Cat, and I am going to bring it up again later for another pick.
Yeah.
But obviously, I've said it multiple times in the podcast, Glorilla killed it. Like,
Glorilla did kill it.
Yeah.
blew my mind away. I was in tears, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Because even when we were at Ice Spice, right? And because there was like a similar kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing it more to Ice Spice than Doja, of like having like all the dancers around and all that. And it's like, man, like Glorilla just
energy.
And
the crowd was going crazy.
Yeah.
No backtrack, like just killing it, honestly. Just up there. A full gymnast, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like a full gymnast.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, her background is crazy because I was looking into her after the fact, and it's like apparently she was a singer, like an actual singer in like high school and stuff, and then lost her voice. And then when that happened, it like pitched down and stuff, and then now she does what she does.
She made it work.
Yeah, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah,
literally.
But that's actually not my pick.
Okay.
My honorable mention is definitely going to be Famous Dex.
Okay.
Famous Dex went so insane at what was that? The lyrical tenure.
Okay.
People were going crazy. He like threw his jacket.
Nice to see.
Yeah, he threw his jacket into the crowd. He was going absolutely nuts, having a great time, just having fun with it. Super cool to see. But my number one is going to be Absol.
Absol?
Ooh,
Really?
Absol.
Yeah.
That is a good pick.
Because
That's a
Very good pick.
Yeah.
I don't listen to Absol really. I didn't know what to expect going in. Like I'd heard some songs before, heard what he'd done in the past, but the energy with which he kind of came out and was not like he didn't have to jump all over the place to get the crowd really going.
Because it's not his music anyway.
Yeah, and it was just really impressive to see somebody come out and just do it strictly through like the character and the personality on stage.
Definitely another example of like right crowd, right artist,
right venue. The venue was like just the right amount of intimate.
Well,
it was really.
I've been to a couple other shows at that venue this year, mostly like local artists. Like I saw like Wick Whitney and Johnny Jones there.
Okay.
Yeah,
and it's a great venue, and Absol was a absolute good call for the sleeper. I remember when that concert happened. Like
that was a fun concert.
We had to be reminded day of.
Yeah, literally the day of. Yeah.
We were like, hey, just so you know, we're seeing Absol tonight. It's like, okay.
Oh shit, we better find parking.
Literally. No, I mean, honestly, for a sleeper pick, I think that's a great pick because, like, out of everyone, he's the old head. Like, he is the old head. I feel like out of all the concerts we saw, and that's a unique experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, bet. All right, I'm gonna open up the next category, the best opener, because we've seen a lot of concerts and a lot of different kind of openers.
Now, how are we defining opener?
Honestly, I left it very open to interpretation. So if you want to do, because I'll say mine first, and you can kind of get an idea. So my honorable mention was Saba at the 10-day. Because technically he did open for Chance.
Yeah.
Finally getting able to see Saba was super dope. The Chicago native, and like he actually previewed some new music when he did it, and like he killed it. It was great to see it. But in terms of like best opening set for me, the DJ set at Thundercat. I know it might break some rules, but like that. I still don't know who the DJ is, but he killed it. Like
that's a really good call.
Yeah,
I completely agree. It
was
with
insane.
Yeah, no, that's a very good call. See, I'm wondering, like, does he count like a festival setting?
Sure.
Because like, did Turnstile open for Foo Fighters?
Did Lil Uzi Vert open for Future?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, actually,
Because that goes.
No, those are like. I honestly think we're asking a very valid question.
Dude, Lil Uzi Vert.
it's our podcast.
One of the best. That was one of the best sets I've ever seen. I know it wasn't a full show, but one of the
Yeah.
It wasn't a very good set.
front flip into the
Twice.
crowd, Bruh, with the hair and the whole. Yeah, insane.
Future should have been my sleeper, but no, just because like.
Future would have been.
I think
Too
Future's
big.
too big to be a
Too
sleeper.
big.
Yeah.
I agree with that. 100%.
Is either he made one of the big ones or he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think of
are
like.
you gonna say Turnstile?
I
think that's allowed.
I don't know. I don't know if I will. Am I allowed to say Jid?
Oh God, no, you're not. So you're actually not, because the way they toured, they alternated nights of who goes
Yeah.
first. So they were like literally just a co-sign on a bill.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Did they actually have an opener? I thought they had an opener.
I think they did too.
I
I
showed
think
up late. I
we
showed up
missed
halfway through Jid's set, so I missed
Yeah.
it.
No, we missed
I
it
got you,
because
got
we
you.
were there like right as the opener left.
That's true.
Yeah, we got.
You're about to say we were.
We were too.
trying to
drunk.
We
think
were
of
fighting
who
for our
else.
lives.
That was a fun one.
I mean, somebody I would say also at Lyrical Tenure was Landon Cube.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Landon Cube was really
That would be actually
good
kinda cool to
live,
see.
but like he's not really an opener. It was like everybody had their own like time slot
Yeah.
still, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, on the rock side, I saw Games We Play open for Fall Out Boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It
was good.
In January of this year.
Yeah.
Or last year.
That's true, yeah.
So that was really good. And then like spoiler alert, Turnstile ranks very high in my best sets of the year.
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah.
But I think I'll probably go Saba because like
said
Turnstile
Saba?
felt like
Okay.
a
They
a
deserve
headbutt.
their own.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they were ahead. Like
I think
there's a huge difference. Like not because I also really liked Little Uzi Vert's set, right?
Yeah.
But he was just playing like a condensed.
yeah.
Like festival
That's
set.
that's what you do at a
he
festival.
could do
yeah.
a 2-hour set. I don't
He could,
think
yeah.
there's
Totally.
an hour. I don't think there's a 2-hour version
Of Turnstile?
what Turnstile did.
That's
right?
No, yeah.
Like they would kill themselves. You know,
The drummer-
like,
All
did you see
pass
that
out.
drummer?
Just-
Yeah.
The drummer doing
The
is just
drummer-
absolute
Franz could
insane
not do
solo.
any more
yeah.
skips across the stage. Like,
Yeah, absolutely wild.
So-
yeah.
Workout. There's a reason they're in shape.
yeah, there's a reason you have to be in shape to play that kind of music.
You know
So I'm actually gonna fully go Saba because to me, like, I did really want to see Vic Mensa, but I've seen Vic Mensa before. So seeing Saba before Chance was probably my favorite.
I have somebody I forgot to put on the list who I'm gonna go ahead and put down for this.
Okay.
You said it was a DJ who you saw before. Who was it?
Thundercat.
Thundercat. I don't know his
Thundercat.
name though. I wish I did.
So, the DJ who opened as one of the openers for Joji was Kenny Beats.
really?
Oh,
And Kenny
that's
Beats-
I didn't
awesome.
know that.
Kenny Beats live went hard.
I don't
as-
doubt that.
Why was I out of town, bro?
Yeah.
I miss Joji.
I
It was,
don't
it was just me and Patrick vibing.
I know.
White Patrick, by
White
the way.
Patrick.
White Patrick, yeah.
Shout out White Patrick.
Yeah, shout out White Patrick.
Shout out Hefe for.
Yeah, shout out Hefe for the
Shout out Hefe,
the-
shout out White Patrick, shout out Isaac.
the absolute alley oop
Let's
on
start
that.
just
yeah.
shouting out all the white
Shout
friends
out-
we have.
Shout out Shop Evan.
Ah, yeah.
Just people who love
Isaac,
the
the
show.
whitest friend you have.
No, before you say
Neither
that,
white nor a friend. Like, is your brother. Like,
You've heard of
Blood.
Coda the friend. Now get ready for neither white nor a friend.
Coda was good too, but I didn't include Coda.
yeah.
Okay, but should we do the best venue stage presence? So in terms of
Oh, yeah, this is the easiest one for me.
okay, what's
Because,
yours then?
this is 100% Beyonce. It is-
Oh yeah, no,
it is
that's
not,
not fair.
It is not
Yeah.
anyone even
You had
close
Soldier Field.
to Beyonce. She ended the set by being hoisted across a diamond horse around the top of Soldier Field.
That's insane.
It's
and
hard to
doing a
beat that.
cover of Donna Summer.
It's like-
note for note while she did it.
It's like I didn't even know that it was possible
No, it
to
was
rig
like,
that in Soldier
no,
Field
like
with it being open.
I'll say this: like everything that we saw this year, like together,
Yeah.
in far as like production, even Drake, Drake had great.
He had a lot.
production.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
like-
crazy screens
Yeah,
on stage.
he had
yeah.
crazy shit too. Even Doja, who I thought was fantastic.
That production was
right?
crazy, yeah.
I thought she had great production.
Yeah.
I bet Travis does too.
Yeah,
But
that would have been a good one.
none of them have a.
It's hard to
Flying
compare
Crystal
with
Horse.
that.
yeah, no,
hard to
of a
compete with
flying
Beyonce.
crystal. And
Like-
that was like not even like obscene
biggest
at the
part,
time,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and like the arc of it too, because it started with her coming out like no one else, simple black dress.
I mean,
Totally.
she changed
Like,
his dress
spotlight,
like 3
yeah.
times. Like,
Dude, she was wearing
It's
like a
hard to beat that.
transformer robot armor at some point. Like,
Of course.
It was insane.
Beyonce won.
She also did the same thing Kid Cudi did at Summer Smash, where she really made it seem like Kendrick was about to come out.
Oh yeah.
She really made it seem.
Don't remind us.
Salt.
Yeah,
Salty.
We would have been in danger. I would have jumped on stage myself.
Quick, they're playing chess in the Kendrick Lamar mosh pit.
It's like, everybody get over there now.
I've got a pick for this one.
All right,
I think mine might be a little unpopular considering I didn't love the album as much. Mm-hmm. Don Toliver.
Oh, Don Toliver's was
Dude,
good.
Don Toliver.
He built the house.
It was a diner. that
diner.
That set, crazy.
That one was.
Having seen what people are capable of putting together at Aragon, and just in
Yeah.
general, like Jid and Smino, theirs was pretty cool. It was like the double heart thing made out of
it was like
metal.
a really awesome sculpture, but
Yeah,
it wasn't.
it wasn't
amazing
interactive.
stage
Yeah.
tech. Yeah,
Totally.
Don Toliver's was really
Dude.
quite something.
Unbelievable. Yeet had like nothing, pretty much.
He walked around in ski mask. That's what
I mean, yeah, and people went crazy, so like it works.
right.
But at the same time,
I'm not judging him.
the Lovesick Diner, like a full building on stage for a venue of 5,000 and not Soldier Field like Donda is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
I do agree.
Respect.
Honestly, that's a good pick.
I also think the interactivity, like the inside-outside play,
Yeah, and going up
with
on
the
top.
diner.
Yeah, super
I wish
cool.
we were
was
closer.
actually
That's the only thing.
like, were you at Donda?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, Donda was a once of a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
But
It was.
like, I actually think like the inside-outside climbing, like the interactivity of the diner, was actually on a technical level more impressive.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that the recreation of the house is cool, just as like a piece of history. And it's like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But like as an actual set piece, it didn't do much aside from like everybody came out of the house and then he went back in and came out on fire. Like that was it.
And if anything, you couldn't see everything.
Yeah.
He wanted to light the house on fire, and of course, Lightfoot wouldn't want him to do that.
Yeah, he was literally on the
can't-
phone
yeah.
arguing with Lightfoot. That's why he was so late.
Yeah.
Can't
Checks out.
light a
Yeah.
house on fire in the middle of Soldier Field, but
Yeah, well, you know, something
he's
air
done other
pollution.
things.
Yeah.
But for me, that was an easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyonce absolutely makes sense. And Don Toliver, I agree. I just wish we were closer. It was so much smoke in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also humid. It was like precipitating in there.
It was crazy
It
smoke
was.
everywhere.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
was
only bad
it was intense, and what was really impressive also was just the crowd. Like
Mm-hmm.
people were so on, because I don't think of Don Toliver as being like the most energetic in general in terms of like delivery and performance. He's like very like, to me it's more of like vibey type
Yeah.
stuff, except when he's featured.
Yeah.
But damn, that crowd was going crazy
Well,
too.
Brandon's talked about that before because it is a workout and he wasn't in shape that first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the first time I saw Don Toliver,
Yeah,
like
I remember
he-
you meant, was it Lala?
Yeah, it was at Lala the year in 2022.
Struggling.
Yeah.
And like, listen, the dude left it all on the field, but he just
Yeah.
didn't have enough. Like
Fucking
he had
going
to,
through it.
you know, it just wasn't. And he got fucked by technical issues. Like there were like layers to
Yeah.
it. But yeah, no, it he grew a lot as a performer in the time between like we saw him
And you all
the year and this year.
You all saw the video I put up about on Juice WRLD Day, right? Where he's like dancing around on stage and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got it figured out.
He's had a good year in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don
Like, it
Toliver's
was
had a good
very
year.
low key because
Yeah.
Lovesick wasn't like the biggest album in my opinion.
No.
But
yeah.
like for what he's done this year, it's been a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, Lovesick was an interesting album because, like, I've always said, like, I think Don Toliver can do big things, but he just hasn't yet.
Right. It just needs to
And, like,
come out.
Lovesick, I think, was the closest, like, earnest attempt at it. But I still don't think it quite...
It didn't land.
It didn't
No.
quite land.
No, yeah. We need like Jack Boys if it were specifically like CO Don Toliver.
I think he needs
Or
to,
something
like,
like
be
that.
completely... He needs to carve
Break
his
the
own
sound
path.
off?
No,
Yeah.
for sure. But like in terms of surrounding yourself with talent and just building like a tight kind of like condensed project, I think that's something he could really benefit from.
Yeah.
Because Lovesick is like an hour and a half.
It is.
It's a lot, and it's like
And
I
it's
don't
not
know.
focused. That's
Yeah.
the main issue.
Yeah, and then like other stuff that he's on, like Jack Boys, is shorter. It's tighter. It's like what 40 minutes.
Well, they said there's going to be a Jack Boys 2 this year. Well, it's rumored.
Fingers
I should
crossed,
say.
man. I'm waiting.
I want that, and I want a Cozy Tapes 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to Cozy Tapes recently. I'm ready for the third one.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'll say mine. We mentioned already, but Doja Cat and Drake are tied. Both of them
Yeah,
were
true.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Doja Cat's up there, man.
Yeah, no, Doja Cat's
Both
stage.
So good.
I also really liked Kendrick's. It was a little bit more subdued for a Lollapalooza.
We were also far.
We were also far, but I didn't really mind it.
True.
It was and I just think like bringing like that kind of, because he had the Steppers, which is like a very you
Yeah.
know direct connection to his last project. I think it's an interesting take to like bring that to like a a festival, and not just like the festival, but like the IMAX stage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
So yeah.
Do we include like musical stylistic choices as part of this? Because I would say Kendrick actually, one of the things that was really interesting was seeing a lot of his hits recreated with live band.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
like seeing Mad City with a live band recreating the backing for the chorus is wild.
You know, the first time I ever saw an artist do something like that was Wiz Khalifa.
Oh,
because
wow.
when he tours, he does all of his music
Live
is
music.
recreated. The first big tour I ever went to was him and Mac Miller.
Oh,
they
yeah.
both had. Mac Miller had his DJ play some of the beats, but
Yeah.
a lot of them, for both of them, was like, oh, this is the live band making the music, the
Yeah.
same songs.
Yeah.
That's my
Man.
biggest regret. I wish I saw Mac Miller. Man,
Yeah.
it's the one that
It's
get
like,
away.
it's like, let me just get like half a Blue Slide Park. I'll take it.
I'll take literally anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
no,
interesting that you said that about Kendrick, because I remember seeing him for the Big Stars when he went on tour, and like at the United Center, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Because like that's when he had like the shadow puppets and the box that was float. He did everything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to, we got two more categories for live music. We have best song performance, and this is, I feel like everything going forward is a little tight.
Tough.
This is tough.
This
This
is
is a little
tough.
tight.
And I gotta be honest with you guys, I have a tie.
You have a tie?
And
Okay.
I have a tie, but it's like it's a very uneven tie.
Okay, elaborate. What's going on?
Meaning that like
Context, please.
well, just meaning that like, oh wow, these are the same. That says something about one of these artists. Because
Okay.
one of them was finally getting to hear "All Right" by Kendrick Lamar.
True.
Right? I've seen.
It
this
hits.
This was my third time seeing Kendrick Lamar. He actually opened for Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa on that tour.
Yeah.
So that was my first time, and then I saw him open for Kanye. This was my first time seeing him as like the headliner. It was my first time seeing him in, you know, it was a little less than 10 years.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm on wax about my love for To Pimp a Butterfly. So the second I heard that Pharrell 4 beat, that was just a transcendental experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
I
is
understand,
that is a premier artist like doing like a
His
song
best
that
song,
won him
like-
a Pulitzer Prize, right? The other one, and I gotta keep it real with you guys, I think she's hitting neck and neck with that, was when Doja Cat did Streets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
She did Streets.
Yep.
She did the shit out of that.
Doja
song.
Cat Streets was my winner.
Yeah,
I
she
had
was. I
honorable
could not.
mentions,
And
but
like
Streets
I
was
say,
crazy.
like, you know, like it's a little uneven because it's like, oh, Doja Cat and Kendrick Lamar's All Right. You know, like.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, I just look. There was a lot of them. The one that was very hard for me to leave behind, even though these two I think clearly clear it, was Mystery Turnstile.
Dude.
Just,
Yeah.
like
fuck.
that.
They're so good.
Yeah, it was just like that amazing opening, and I
Yeah.
also think that was probably my favorite individual set this year, just like for the pure
By
novelty
itself,
of bringing
yeah.
this guy to
Yeah.
Riot Fest.
Facts.
That alone
Yeah.
made that my favorite set of the year. But like,
It's my first time even hearing that song too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Wi-
and
wild.
it was incredible.
it was good. It was really good. I can't even.
I just loved, when they opened and just like seeing the camera, because they've got the screens up, right, and you see them like going through it, and then the guitar riff starts, and the camera immediately cuts to people already like vortexing the pit. I was like, Purvis, welcome to the fucking show.
It's funny. I'm serious. Wait till Travis comes. You're gonna see me
Oh
doing one
my
at the
God.
third level.
We're in the. I was gonna say we're in the second row. This
We're
will
gonna
be.
do
This
a
is dangerous.
vortex pit from the third level.
My one rule: do not fall off the balcony.
Oh
Just
my
don't,
God.
don't fall off.
Well, we'll see.
I also agree. Streets was my winner. Streets was incredible.
Insane.
Incredible. She did phenomenal. My runner up was Noel Smino.
Yeah.
He killed it. And Acid Rain. That's
Noel's
That hit
was
hard, yeah.
also like up there for sure.
Acid Rain is crazy.
Yeah, Acid Rain was crazy.
I mean everything about that day. Is just,
Well, when he did Same Drugs, I cried. I definitely cried
I did-
from Same Drugs. 100% bawled my
Yeah.
eyes out.
I didn't even know. Leah told me afterwards, like a month later. She was like, "You were crying for real." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you were. I'm
was
gonna
an
go.
emotional day.
I'm gonna go ahead and say one that probably doesn't come to mind, but I saw Lil B perform Ohio this year.
What?
That's fun, yeah.
So I mean that was like
That's a good one.
honestly,
life imitates meme moment, which is pretty great. That's like my honorable mention for sure.
Now that you say that, Poland, Lil Yachty.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Poland was
really
that
very
was
cool.
fun.
That was really
fun.
That was fun.
Poland was very
Now that
fun.
you
Actually,
say that.
you know what? You know what I'm gonna pick?
What?
You've inspired me. I Spy.
Oh, yes.
I Spy.
That's
I
a
Spy
song.
was very
That is a
good.
song that I've liked for a long time. Never thought I was gonna see it live. I was like, what the
That
fuck
hits
happened to
different.
Kyle? He's gone.
Yeah.
Like, is that man still alive? Nobody knows.
No, he's off the grid.
Yeah,
He
and
is
it's
over
like that, and then also Broccoli.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
seeing
dude.
Broccoli
Everything
live
about
was
Lil Yachty that
crazy.
day.
Broccoli was nuts.
It's like
yeah.
all the music from like 8 years ago that I'm still like I still really enjoy. It's just like, all right, boom, here it
Yeah.
is.
That was
Surprise.
a good summer. That was
Especially
a good
because
summer.
he was not supposed to be the slot.
Yeah, it was supposed
That
to
was
be
going to be
Ice
Ice
Spice.
Yeah,
Spice,
Ice Spice canceled, and that was the end of that.
And we still got to see her. It all worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
What was your actual pick before that then?
Damn, my actual pick. I was also like on the fence about Chance just
Mm-hmm.
because Acid Rain is such a moment. But I've seen him perform that before because he performed it at
You
Coloring
did,
Day.
yeah.
Man, I would say like another one is just Lil Uzi Vert seeing Just Wanna Rock live is
Oh, that was
Yeah.
fun.
yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Especially a song like that, I can't take too much out of it, like listening to it on
No.
headphones. So,
No,
like,
yeah.
seeing that's the whole point of the song,
Yeah.
seeing him do it live. So I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, that's got to be. Up
I
there.
really liked hearing EXO tour live.
That
Is
was
like
true.
a top tier
Yeah.
20 that from that decade. You know, that's an S tier song for me.
Also Future freaked it.
Everything Future did, I don't
Future
care.
was
The whole performance was perfect
Future
for me.
was like a incredible
Yes.
performance. Like
It was really good.
You know, like I agree with your take that like Future is just in and of himself too big to be a
Like a
sleeper.
hit. Yeah.
But like I've talked about it before, but I'm sure a lot of people this is gonna be their first time.
I gave you a
Like,
speech, bro.
First off, he gave me a whole ass speech before Future.
The
And
monologue.
I almost did
I'm
this,
so serious.
I almost did the same thing before Turnstile, and I would have done the same thing before Run the Jewels.
Just grab him. You don't understand.
It literally, bro, it was literally, he was sitting down, I'm standing up. Brandon, no, you don't get it. Future is like the goat of trap. And I'm like giving a whole speech.
But like, just like that feeling of like, yeah, this is gonna be fun, and then it's like, oh, I know every word to every one of these songs.
Yeah,
Somehow, like,
dude. Yeah.
I know every single Future song somehow.
And everyone around you going crazy.
Everyone going crazy,
Yeah.
and also like,
We in the
look,
VIP
Summer
spot,
Smash is
too?
fun. Like, I love Summer Smash. I'm excited to go next year.
Hell yeah.
But it was very refreshing that weekend to have a set where we're surrounded by people our age.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yeah, that was one
You
for
know?
the three headliners for that entire. Well, not the third one, but the first two nights, the headliners and the secondaries were like definitely for the adults.
It's
Yeah.
older people.
The rest of the day, it's like let the
and
kids
Kid
have their
Cudi
fun.
was like I don't think Kid Cudi had any problems, but like that set
It
was a
more-
shit show.
I feel like it was more geared towards the older people appreciate it more. Because I remember walking away, you heard some kid.
I was salty as fuck, bro.
I was like, Jasper, do not fight him. Like,
You don't know. You don't know.
So yeah, Kid Cudi was more geared towards the older fans.
Like none of you know what it means. The adults in the room at Summer Smash made an executive decision that first night, and sort of that second night. But Future, I think, just
Yeah,
given
yeah.
the style
Yeah.
of the sound, is like
Yeah.
a little more universal.
The kids
yeah.
got Sunday with Cardi.
For sure. That was and the ambulance is
kids
going
get
through the crowd. The ambulance is going through the crowd at Cardi. I was like, "Welcome to the experience, guys. This is what it's like." It's great.
So, yeah.
I mean, best overall performance. Mine
Are we
is open close case.
Yeah, mine's very open and close.
It's Chance.
Yeah, mine's
It's
Chance.
not even close.
Mine's Chance. Turnstile gave him like a runner up, and like, and I was telling you this like before Travis because like, full disclosure, and I thought this about Doja Cat too, but I thought it was much more obvious. Like I was just like, I do not think it's possible for Travis Scott to put on a show that I would like more than that acid rap show.
Yeah.
Just because of like the 10 years of memories I have around that project.
Sure.
So
Right.
much emotion.
Just so much emotion,
Yeah.
right? And that's really what music is, right? Like so I was very confident. Like once RTJ passed,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Now you
because
know
like that
for
set
sure.
was great, but I had seen them before, and it was like it wasn't the best set of theirs I've seen. So it's like I can't possibly shout it out. I was like, oh, this is my number one. Like,
Yeah.
Like, could Travis Scott hit top turnstile? Probably,
Yeah,
but
potentially.
no, not chance.
Yeah,
No, it was just
it
something.
wasn't
else.
even close for me.
Yeah, man. For me, my honorable mention is gonna be Joji, just
Okay.
because to see him go up on stage and meme hard as fuck, and then go directly into like very sincere and sometimes vocally challenging songs and
That's
actually
Joji.
perform them,
That's him.
very impressive. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's gonna have to be Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, Chance, I feel very much the same way. Like, it was great to see him again after a long time. I just don't have the same associated memories specifically with acid rap.
Yeah.
If that had been
Yeah.
a coloring day show, that would have been my
I'm
number
in
one.
danger.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
But,
and like and I totally get that. I totally get that this exists in the Inferma. You know, the fact that acid rap came out 14 days before I turned 21
Yeah.
is a huge reason why that project means so much to me.
Totally, yeah, it's a pivotal
Yeah.
moment.
But yeah, no, I get that for
Yeah.
sure.
Cuddy needs to do it. Has it been 10 years since Men on the Moon? It has
Been
been.
It's
well
been
over.
more.
Yeah,
2009, my guy. It's been 15 years this
Yeah.
year.
He needs to do it 20 years something.
Dude, yeah, I mean, hey, the what is it? It's gonna be
Get all
this
the
year. It's gonna be the
feels.
10-year for Satellite Flight.
No.
Satellite Flight, let's
There you
go.
go. He might do something. Well, he said he's doing those like low key concerts this year.
Yeah,
so
he did like 2 in New York, and he hasn't done
Dude,
any
I would
since.
love if he did like the Metro or something.
that would be
Like,
nice.
Subterranean.
I would go.
Sub T.
I want Sub T.
Yeah. Speaking of which, quick sidebar. Don't actually have to cut. I have tickets to Danny Brown at the Metro if anyone wants to come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go to that.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Get your tickets.
Okay.
No.
It's at the Metro. You
It's
said.
at the Metro. Yeah, it's like $30.
That's not bad.
He could have at least made them 40.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes.
That's your one that you're allowed. Absolutely not.
Danny, it was right there.
Okay.
Raise the prices.
Jasper, if I could, I think you're scaring the hose right now.
I'm assuming he's going to be doing some of it.
I have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
See, JPEG's not there. If there's a live performance L of this year, is the fact that the scaring the hose tour
Just didn't come here.
didn't come to Chicago.
That's
was,
so stupid.
I hated.
Like, where the fuck are you going? Omaha?
They went to Indianapolis. They went to Madison.
mean,
I guess
You know,
they
they're scaring them.
maybe maybe they're like, Chicago's maybe a little too liberal. Maybe we can't scare the hose there.
yeah,
That's true.
if you can't scare no Chicago hose.
There's
Man,
gonna be no holes there. Like period.
Oh my god! But
All
yeah,
right.
no, that was it. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool. Well, that was our live
Yeah, that's
music.
our
then.
live music. Hell of a year. We already
Many
have
more
like,
concerts.
We already have like a lineup for this year.
Chance lined up. Mick lined up.
We have Mick Jenkins.
Now,
we have Mick Jenkins, Danny Brown, Travis.
Travis, dude. Fuck, I'm so
it's a good
excited.
start. Danny, what day is it? Danny Brown?
It's in March.
Oh, March. Okay. I got
Yeah, it's
time.
in March.
I got time. Okay.
And confirmed Summer Smash next year.
Okay.
That's happening. So
All
We'll be
right.
there.
it'll be
Oh,
good.
yeah.
We will be there.
Yeah. Well, it sucks I'm not gonna be able to go to Riot Fest this year.
Mm.
Oh, my cousin's getting married. I gotta go to St. Louis. Not gonna miss that.
Boo. Bring the wedding here.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It's funny 'cause, like my cousin,
Yeah.
he's like
Yeah.
an older guy. He goes there to see all the hardcore shows. So he came up to me and Rachel at Christmas. He's like, "Oh, we'll find a hardcore show in St. Louis to go to. Keep
Oh,
the
okay.
tradition alive."
Yeah.
Okay,
I like that.
all right,
Okay.
there you go.
I like that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So should we move on to recorded music?
Yeah.
Let's do
OG Golden Nugget.
OG recorded the Golden Nugget. Yes.
Okay.
We're actually talking about music that was released last year.
Yes, I actually released last year. The way I did it, we have 5 different categories. Like I said, I am leaving it open just to not be too critical. When I say top 3, just 3. You don't have to list 3, 2, 1. It's not that serious.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these are like, hey, I have a number one,
Yeah,
but like everything else is kind of like,
kind of falling in there.
yeah.
Okay, bet. Well, we're starting off with music videos. I can open it up then. My 3 for music videos. The first one I wanted to do is The Secret Recipe.
That's a great one, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. And the verses, Lil Yachty and J. Cole killed it. Very simple production, but effective. And honestly, it's one of the better songs, in my opinion, that came out last year. The next one, First Person Shooter. It just so many classic memes behind it. The production was great. And it's Drake and J. Cole. It's hard to go wrong with that.
Yeah.
The spider meme, the chess meme, like
So good. Yeah.
it's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, this would be my number one. Hillbillies
Hillbillies.
came out.
That's a
this
good
year,
video.
It's a good
and
video.
It is a It's a fun video, which is
Yeah.
nice. So,
Okay. Okay, so let me do my 3, and then we'll talk about our choices. Do we do any honorable mentions? Because there was one that I really wanted to have on there, but like I kind of didn't because of the way it was released.
Okay.
But now that it exists as a standalone music video, I do really like it.
Okay.
And that's Modern Jam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck.
I thought
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Modern Jam is
I was convinced
on
what you were
my.
gonna say.
It's my honorable mention.
Okay.
I don't want to release it because I do have very strong words about
the whole
pretty much all the other visual components of the Utopia release.
Yes.
Fair.
But Modern Jam was incredible.
I agree.
You know, it is a go-to. But there are 3 other ones that I just couldn't pass up, and like I have a number 1 and then the other 2. So. The other 2 are first-person shooter. I think it's hilarious. I love that they got the guy from The Office.
It's great.
I think humor is just a very underrated part of it. This is a thing I talk about all the time. Like, people don't take it seriously that, like, being funny can make the music better. You know, 2 Chainz is a premier example of that. Some Run the Jewels stuff is a premier example of that. I think this is a great example of that. Their tongue is in their cheek and they're being fine. They spent it in a minute pretending to be Spider-Man in this music video.
Of course,
And like considering who those people are, like,
Yeah.
not to say like there's a ton at risk, but like these are the biggest names in the game. So like
Yeah.
if they're goofing off like the Hillbillies,
Yeah.
if I see Kendrick Lamar and Baby
Exactly.
Keem
It's a very
fucking
fun-
around,
150 grams of protein.
Yeah,
Literally.
150 grams of protein.
best dressed. Like what? What have you talked about?
It's like,
that?
give him another Pulitzer. Another Pulitzer now.
No.
Give him a Nobel
He's
Peace Prize.
Baby
Give him
Keem.
everything. Okay.
The other one that is like in my back to is Attention, the Doja Cat video.
Oh, okay.
I think I think Doja Cat's release and Travis's release are kind of like reversed.
That video is
Because it's like, I think all the visual components of Doja Cat are just so stellarly done. And then the album was like good, not great. Whereas like, I think Utopia was
The
the
opposite.
first. Where
Yeah.
like, the album was extremely good. And then like
the fumble.
visuals were fumbled. But yeah, I liked Attention. But the number 1 music video of this year, by far for me, is Die Today with Earth Gang and Spillage Village.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to see that.
Oh my God. So they basically do an entire parody of like the phenomenon of people getting more famous after they die.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
the R.I.P. Earth Gang, yeah.
They took like real like news programs. Like they have one of like Tucker Carlson like being like,
remember that
Johnny
now, yeah.
Venus died today, one of our premier artists in the country. And it's like, who did... So like
forgot
one, it's
about
like
that.
it's a very touching song.
Yeah.
And the video just brings out another layer of it. Easily Earth Gang Spillage Village, best video of the year.
Okay, I like that. I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
And Denzel Curry's in it, and he's like, he has like just a comedic role, which is just like, that's another thing, like the humor. It's just like, it's fun to just see Denzel Curry come on there and just be funny for 30 seconds.
Totally. Yeah.
I agree. I like that. Okay.
I'm going to do one honorable mention too, and that's going to be Kid Cudi, Ill What I Bleed. The song is kind of whatever. Like, I think over time, those singles that are coming out now are going to be appreciated a little more so.
I would like to see the full project. Yeah.
Portia Topless is starting to get more of its flowers, even though when it came out, people were like, eh. But I think that just like him fucking around having fun in like Japan is hilarious and like makes for a good video. It reminds me of like the A$AP Rocky thing, running through the streets wearing Timbs.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
That could have been one. Yeah.
For my number 3 spot, I'm gonna go. I'm also gonna go Doja Cat, but I'm gonna go Paint the Town Red.
Okay.
Because that video is crazy.
huge.
You know, hanging out with the Grim Reaper, strong visuals, nice color. Everything is just kind of like where it needs to be. Plus that song, the sample's great. So
a lot of that production was taken off like real art, though, right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like all fully inspired, which is nice too. It's like very referential. Second spot, I'm gonna go. I'm also gonna go Modern Jam, just because I think that video is super cool.
That video is very cool.
It also very directly references Daft Punk's Around the World video.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great because Guy Manuel is the producer, so it's like Travis is just like borrowing a lot of visual elements, or at least the people who do his music videos are.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm surprised of you brought up any of the content from this. Sorry Not Sorry, Tyler, because some of the visuals around.
Like
estate sale,
Dogtooth had like a really good video.
Dogtooth, Wharf Talk too with A$AP Rocky, super
When did
strong.
Sorry Not Sorry come out?
March.
It was just so early.
No, it
I
was
feel
like
I
very
haven't
early,
revisited
But
it.
that video, like him killing all the previous eras of his own,
That is cool.
and then like we don't know what the actual Tyler is because it's like the whole weird shirtless thing going on. Yeah, it's like I'm curious what happens next.
Interesting.
He plays with that very
The lore,
No,
the lore is set up.
I like that. Also, so sorry. I didn't have an honorable mention, but I did want to bring it up just because I haven't said anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys listen to Boz's album yet?
No.
Not yet. No.
It's pretty good. It didn't reach like my top 5, but it is a very good listen.
Yeah.
And Dr. Oblivion, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's a music video, very good, and it's simple and it's clean. But definitely recommend Boz's album. That would be my honorable mention.
Hell yeah.
Now the next category is 10 singles. Now
Do you want to do this round robin?
That's
and
what I
make
was
this
gonna
like
say.
a long drawn out thing.
yes,
Let's go.
I would love to do that.
Yes.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
This is
Jasper,
the
do you
one.
want to start first?
10 singles. Any individual song that came out in this year?
Yeah.
Yes, this is what we were supposed to do last year, and we miscommunicated.
So, but we are talking like even if it was on an album.
Yes.
Yeah,
It could be
especially if it
literally
wasn't
any
on
song.
an album. Yeah, as long as it was a song released.
In no particular order. I assume.
Mine is I have a 10. I have like one that is definitely 10th.
Yeah.
I have one that is definitely first. And then like
in
everything
between.
else is kind of like in
Yeah.
flux.
Okay.
And I kind of tried to keep it to like one song per artist, one song per album.
All right.
Same.
I'm
But
gonna,
I'm not being so strict. I'm not being so prescriptive with that.
all right. So for me, my number 10 then has got to be All the Way Live. So Metro, Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
okay.
a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Just because the way that comes in is just, it hits, but also at the same time, it's not like a song from the Spider-Man movie is going to outclass a lot of stuff that came out this year.
Yeah.
Frankly. Yeah.
I mean, you never know though.
No, it's
Yeah,
true.
you never know.
I mean, Sunflower when that came out.
Yeah, that was
literally the song
huge.
of the
Yeah,
year.
but that's like, I feel like there's a difference because that's like leans so heavily into like just being very poppy as
Yeah.
opposed to,
It is.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Mine is a technicality, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
So my for 10, the solid 10th is the second half of Too Easy.
No, that's good. You know what? I actually thought about
Yeah, I'm
putting
like
that
the
too.
second half specifically. I'm not gonna lie and say
That's
I haven't
funny.
listened to that song a
That's
ton
funny.
or other songs on the Tizo album. I want to
Yeah.
make sure. I'm sure we'll talk about him more when we talk
Yep.
about like up and comers.
Yes.
Even though he's not my up and comer of the year, but no, that song is all that back end is
Yeah.
just like
It's
that's
great.
just I want an entire Tizo, and I get that it's not his thing. I know his thing is to be Fugazi innovative, right? And he's not going to do something as cut and dry as like an R&B album. But man, with that R&B album,
He can
bang.
sing. He can
Yeah.
sing. He
Yeah.
can sing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. So like, yeah, I would. The second half of Too Easy is
But-
easy. Yeah,
I like that. Okay. I'm not gonna do. I don't really have an order, but I'm just gonna get it out the way because we already discussed it. But the first one will be Hillbillies. It is a fantastic song.
It is.
It is.
There
It is
is just and
fantastic.
like there's just very much something profound about like seeing like a stellar artist like Kendrick Lamar just have
Yes.
fun.
Finally.
You
Finally.
know,
After
yeah.
years
Yeah,
of turmoil.
finally.
I mean, I think some Kendrick albums. I think Damn is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if
I think
anything,
Good Kid,
it's
Mad
commercial.
City has a lot of fun on it.
I think damn they both just do that thing that where it's like a peak, like a very slight peak and then like a major valley, you know?
Yeah.
It's
I
like-
mean, I just disagree with that. I also think To Pimp a Butterfly, like, I get that, like, everyone hears that and they think, you know, how much a dollar
most
costs, like,
serious
Blacker to
and-
Berry.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, songs like These Walls,
There's
that's
a
a fun
funny
song.
conversation.
Yeah, I mean, musically, there's like King
Yeah.
Kunta's fun
Yeah.
musically, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just the overall image
Yeah.
of the album.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
that's the biggest thing is the imagery behind it because I feel
Yeah.
like I mean, when you make music at that level and with those kind of topics, you're gonna have a personality or a face that comes off as more serious. This type of fun that's in the Hillbillies is just different from all this
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah.
It's completely separate. All right, what's your second song?
What's your next one?
So my next one is gonna be, man, if I could just like remember the names of songs, I'm gonna go Johnny Dang.
Okay.
So
Ooh, that's a
that-
good
that
one.
Mexican
I love
OT.
that.
Yeah.
I love that song.
That's an album that we
Well,
forgot.
now I'm wondering if I sub it because I'll get to it.
That's an album that we forgot to kind of put on the
I've
list.
been
We supposed
telling
to-
people,
But it's so
I know.
good.
Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll do a
That
deep
Mexican OT is going to be.
Yeah.
I have some time.
Is he your up and comer?
100%.
I kind of figured. it.
100%.
I figured.
I
I figured.
There are a lot of up and comers I really like right now. There
Yeah.
are a lot of people very early in their careers.
Yeah, yeah.
that I'm very interested in more than I have been in a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, spoiler alert: that Mexican OT, he's on this list, and he's my up and comer. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I love Johnny Dang, and that Paul. We did do a best
The Paul Wall.
a best feature
We did not.
We could improvise it and freestyle it right now.
I would say I've got my picks already.
Yeah, I know what my.
I'm not ready for.
I know who
features.
my best feature is. So
just one? I might be.
I got two.
I might, yeah, but like the Paul Wall feature on this is one of the best features of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Damn, my next one is she's been coming up a lot, but Demons, Doja Cat.
Oh yeah,
dude, that beat goes, and
it is
like,
a hard beat.
Who are you, and what are those?
Everyone was like, I remember seeing like on TikTok and Instagram, everyone being like, "Can you believe this? She's making this music." I'm like, "This goes hard. Shut up!" Like, this is very good. Like.
Also, I liked the whole social media outrage only for this project to be like a slightly harder,
wasn't even
like
more rap heavy version of what she does.
Yeah.
I guess the trolling and like the memes are a little lighter, but at the same time, musically it's not that different.
No, it's not.
I think
especially like the big hits, like Agora Hills sounds very much like a Doja Cat.
It totally like very kind of like not synth pop, but like very like airy.
Yeah, like pop. Yeah, but though definitely like kind of in the post Lord.
Yes.
Kind of like indie pop.
That song goes hard though. Agora Hills.
Oh, Agora Hills does go hard. Scarlet's not a bad album. You know?
No,
it's not.
It's not
you
a
know,
bad album, no.
it just. I think it's an album that clearly could have been better though.
Yeah, it's like a.
And it just wasn't the refined piece of like work that I thought it would be.
It's got like very clear, strong songs at the beginning, and then it just kind of like tones down.
Yeah, I think there are some other good songs at the end too.
Yeah.
What's interesting, like for me, for Doja Cat, I think, and this isn't like a category, but for like most unexpected album, that was the one because the rollout was just so much different than the album, in my opinion.
Totally.
And like I feel not even just obviously the rollout in terms of like music videos or songs coming out, but just like her actual actions. It's just like the whole thing, like, oh, she doesn't care about her fans and all this other stuff. But like, there's a meaning behind it. There's a message behind it.
Yeah.
Why she was doing it.
And then like, and even like we were talking about this last night. Like me and Rachel, like she was going hard at the show.
Yeah,
like,
she was.
She cares about the fans.
She was not performing like someone who does not care about their fans.
Yeah, and the fact that she spent so little time kind of like talking and fucking around, compared to like actually just performing.
Almost, I would say almost to a fault.
Yeah,
that was like one thing is that like there was like a weird tempo at that show.
There was
where it felt like when she was performing a song, it was great.
Yeah,
which is obviously the most important thing.
Totally.
So which is why I still consider the show very good. But like I think there was clearly something going on beyond like backstage because like there was like very little fluff. Almost, to the point where like there wasn't outfit changes and things.
I mean, the thing is, we got to keep in mind, which we learned at the show, it was the last leg of the tour.
Yeah.
It might have been
was the
perfected
last single,
at that point.
single last
exactly
stop, right? Yeah. That's crazy.
All right, but Purvis, next one.
Okay.
Demons.
I don't know how I want to order them, so I'm gonna do like the less serious songs first.
That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah. So
I have like my top 3, and then everything else is just kind of filling in.
Exactly. So yeah, Hillbillies is goofy. The second one I'll do, "Fuck You Mean" by Gunna. It was a summer song for me. It was the summer song.
Yeah.
And it was like, obviously the numbers don't mean everything, but like the fact that it was streamed to the amount that it was, a phenomenal job and a great comeback from being in jail, in my opinion.
Good job, Gunna.
Like actually though. Okay, Jasper.
I'm going Stuntman.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Vince Staples. We love a Vince Staples feature. We love, a good kind of strong start to what is technically a bonus track list, like a list of bonus tracks, but feels like it's its own lead single.
Yeah.
That song hits.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the estate sale was like a weird thing, man, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it wasn't
been
a
his own
deluxe.
No, it doesn't feel like it.
It feels like its own release.
Yeah, 100%.
But like,
it's a bonus disc.
Yeah, it's a bonus disc. That's what it is. Right?
Yeah.
It was a unique thing, and I really appreciated that. And the thing is that like, Tyler just doesn't stick in my rotation as much for some reason. And I listened to that when it came out. I love Stuntman. Like Stuntman was probably my favorite, the one with Vince Staples, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that Stuntman and Dogtooth were the two that I was like, oh,
those were the two lead singles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I like that one a lot.
Man, yeah. Just some of the imagery on that. It's like, even though it came out last and it was like extras, it almost feels like a lot of the content or like the themes that he talks about are perfected, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's reached the final iteration of rapping about that thing in that way.
That's true.
Got the jelly bean Kelly Green rolls. Inside's white like a jalapeno.
Who comes up with that? Who says that?
Insane.
Jelly bean Kelly Green? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I will say this, Vince Staple, I do like his feature on Earl Sweatshirt.
Oh yeah,
a little bit more.
Yeah.
But good pick. I do like that.
What you got?
All right. Oh, it's my turn. This one's easy. It's a song we've talked about a couple times, me and Purvis, but I think it was just two iconic rappers from my life meeting up for the first time. First person shooter.
Oh
yeah.
I don't even. It's kind of weird how many people who like don't like Drake being like, I actually like For All the Dogs.
Yeah.
Like I was watching FD Singifier, his white rappers video, and he's like, I'm kind of a Drake hater, but I thought For All the Dogs was good. I liked Search and Rescue.
Yeah.
That's gotta be. I'm gonna have to make some edits. But yeah, no. First person shooter, 100%. I think J. Cole's verse is iconic. I think Drake, in the presence of that pressure, performs well for once.
I'm about a.
I'm sorry. I watched the music video yesterday and I just started doing it.
It's such a good video.
It is a good video.
When he's doing the Michael Jackson thing, like
it's that break because he shoots the basketball and then like goes around the world, and I was just like, I'm about to. But yeah, thank you for reminding me of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think it's my turn.
It is your turn.
This is another just extremely popular song, and I'm very happy for Dave and Central C. But Sprinter bangs. It goes so hard.
Yeah,
like that entire song, I love it, and that whole EP was great. So.
I think this is the first time you and I are not in agreement about.
You don't like Sprinter?
I can't get down with the sound, man. I don't know.
Is it that song, or have you listened to the whole album or
No.
the EP? Or
No, I haven't listened to the whole thing, but just like, I don't know, something. Maybe it's the production, just like the cadence of it. It's just not. It doesn't grab me, and the vocalization is not pleasant to me. It's like it's just kind of there, and it's so like spoken as opposed to stylized in any way that it's just it doesn't lend itself to the beat.
You feel like it doesn't flow well.
Yeah, like just maybe that's just my take on British stuff because they sound too fucking British, but like we'll see.
That was gonna be my next question. Is like, do you listen to any grime or anything?
I like
that?
Skepta a lot.
Okay,
but Skepta good. Has a lot. He's very musical in the way he uses his voice. Which
he's like one of the best ever. So
yeah,
at least out of England. London.
Yeah, man. I mean, I recommended what's that Skepta song with Kid Cudi as the feature?
Yeah,
that was one of my picks. It's a single as like one of the good ones because he just really goes hard with the voice. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It might grow on you. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. What's your first one?
Another one. This one is from an album that I think is very mid. I listened to it in prep for this episode because I was like, you know what? I should probably listen to more 2023 music before making judgment calls. But If Looks Could Kill, Destroy Lonely.
Yeah.
Off of like that song off of that album. That album is unbelievably mid.
I tried.
Yeah.
I literally tried last week. And I played it without thinking about it.
Me too. I literally did the same thing this weekend.
Yeah, I commuted home on the train.
Yeah.
And I was like, I made it all the way through the train. I got home. I was walking to my car.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me actually like open the app and look. And it's like 2 hours long.
It's an hour 23. And then there's there's like a director's cut version.
Yeah, there's a director's cut.
And the director's cut is an hour 41.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
I got 2/3 of the way through.
You got 2/3?
Through the regular version, the hour 23 version. I got 2/3 of the way through, and I was like, these all blend together.
Yeah, I get 30 minutes.
If Looks Could Kill as a song, just because of how big it got and like what the meme that it was, like that song is decent, and I appreciate like the guitar instrumentation that makes up the backing track. Like making the best of a bad situation. I feel like for whatever reason, kids really like him now.
They do.
And that's fine. Like it feels like he has a lot of the momentum that Yeat had like a year or two ago.
I mean, if you find that circle, just work in it. I mean,
yeah, exactly. 100%. And like I could see live performances being really good too. That song stands out, but everything else on that album.
Is that the one? Is that the last song on the album?
No, it's the second one. It's the Baby, I'm the Fashion, like the whole thing. Like it's that's the meme one that was like on TikTok and everything.
It was that one and
it's
the
like
last one. It's
people,
like the big one.
People hanging from shit. Like the memes of like
yes,
hanging upside down. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I do recall.
Yeah. So that song is decent. Project is not decent, but that song stands out for sure.
I thought it was the one with Ken Carson, but no, that makes sense.
No,
that you
yeah,
say
it's
that.
not that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right, bet. Brandon.
All right, so for my next one, I want to ask you guys a question.
Oh boy,
Let's hear it.
Have you ever been lost forever?
great song.
Yeah.
Hey, yo!
I'm going Lost Forever. Lost Forever.
Love it.
Travis Scott featuring West Side Gun off Utopia.
Yeah.
Feature of the year, obviously.
Is it James Blake who's doing the actual "Have you ever been lost"?
I think so.
I think so.
Because he's on other stuff.
He's on a bunch of stuff. He's also on. He's on. I really love the closing track of Utopia.
Where will you go now?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I think I'm someone who like really likes like the structure, like the almost like the story structure.
Till further
I think
notice.
we've had a lot of like really good closing tracks this year. I think
Ooh, yeah.
Till further notice.
Till Further Notice.
Yeah.
I think High and Holy. I think Where You Get Your Coke From. I think they're all really solid closing tracks.
Oh yeah.
But no, Lost Forever. Easily my favorite track off Utopia.
Oh really? Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of really good tracks off Utopia.
I think it's a good
right?
answer.
Like there was a lot. Modern Jam was up there. We'll talk more about Utopia, as I'm sure. But and it also just stylistically did something that I really liked, which is my biggest complaint with Travis is that every time he goes somewhere, it sounds like a fucking Travis song.
Yeah, and this
And
very
that
much.
sound
yeah.
I don't love. Like I just like that is not a sound I want everywhere. You know, it is not to me it's not the equivalent of the Griselda sound where I want every rapper to try.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But hearing like, okay, we're gonna get like this Alchemist style production and we're gonna hear Travis do like a pretty respectable verse on it. And then it's gonna switch to the Travis production and you get someone like West Side Gun on it and it's like that tension I loved. So like I think
I agree.
it is just head to nuts, a incredibly produced, like constructed song.
Totally.
I fully agree with that. Okay. I feel like all the rest of the songs are like actually serious songs. So let me go with this one. I'm gonna do the Shoe Fit. It is a part of the extended version for All the Dogs, and I talked to Brandon about this, but obviously for all the Dogs has its positives and its negatives. The negatives do outweigh it.
Yeah.
I remember when he released, which was originally called Scary Hours 3. I text Brandon and I was like, I'm actually pissed off because every single song on here is a top tier Drake song, and it's better than 90% of the album for All the Dogs.
And it was very clearly just put out to juice For All the Dogs.
100%. It may not have reached what he wanted, so he was like, "Here's some more stuff." Although he did claim every song that is on Scary Hours 3 was recorded after release. He claims, but regardless if it's true or not, the Shoe Fit is a phenomenal song and one of Drake's better songs, especially in the later half of his career.
Yeah.
Back to me.
Back to you.
Flooded the Face. Lizzie Vert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that opening track for Pink Tape. Pink Tape, again, we all had mixed kind of reactions to it. Varying degrees. Yeah, well, I mean, some more positive, some more negative than others.
Do you still have it in your rotation? I'm just curious.
I have songs from this in my rotation, yeah. Spotify did a thing, I'm like going through my Spotify right now, where they removed whether or not you have it liked in the thing, so I can't actually explicitly see it right now. But I've got at least 4 or 5 songs from it on rotation. I know Flooded the Face, Suicide Doors for sure. What else? Pluto to Mars, Days Come and Go, and Zoom are all in there.
Okay.
Zoom I really like as well, but of the tracks from this project that I would put in my top 10, Flooded the Face definitely stands out. It's just a super strong opener, and you've got like Low Uzi, which we haven't seen in a while, which is kind of cool. So
a more traditional Uzi, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my next one is going to be another incredible closing track from a project this year. Bass Jam.
Bass Jam?
The closing track to Quaranta.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
like a strong closer.
This is going to be something that like I get back to, especially in the later half of this episode. We're talking about like artists being very dynamic, like having like a very wide dynamic range. It's, and this is just like, it's almost like it's Danny Brown. And it's almost like a lullaby. Yeah. Like talking about like all the slow jams that he like used to listen to with his mom. Like how he used to listen to those slow jams like when he was, young and out on his own. Right. And it's just like this very like Quaranta is like a very different album.
It is.
For Danny Brown. Like it is very measured and constructed, and then just getting to that as the end of just this feeling of very soft joy was just very insane to me.
Do you think that Quaranta is a bit like the Michael of Danny Brown in that way?
100%. Yeah, I 100%.
I drew a parallel for sure.
100%. Yeah, it's kind of like this almost like these therapy albums, right?
Yeah.
Where you have
deep
Michael being
yeah.
this very deeply autobiographical album about Killer Mike.
Totally.
From the perspective of being an Atlanta rapper. I think Quaranta is very much the exact same thing about the alternative hip hop scene.
Yeah.
You know, I think Jay-Z, I think 444 was that about Jay-Z, which is damn near a genre in and of itself.
Mr. Morale.
Mr. Morale is kind of like that.
A therapy session for Kendrick himself.
I think Mr. Morale is a little bit more theatrical.
Yes. Yeah.
Bitch, you ugly as fuck.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think Mr. Morale is a little bit more theatrical. It's a little bit more of a production and a story that isn't so real. Whereas these feel
it's literally their story.
Like an autobiography, right? Like if these were books, it would be in a different section than Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, even if reading them is a similar experience.
Is Mr. Morale basically the idea of a feeling as opposed to actually feeling those feelings kind of in that way?
No, I just think I think fiction is just extremely useful tool.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't know about Michael, but Michael gets some very dark places.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think especially if you're going to be telling stories like Mother I Sober and Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
Right? Having fiction as a literary device is very useful, right?
Yeah.
And it also just lends itself, whereas if you're making a song like Jenny's Terrific Vacation, or Bass Jam.
I like that song, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that song, right?
Yeah.
But I think that song is it's about a firsthand experience with gentrification.
Yep.
Right? So it's not something that can be so fictionalized.
True.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, so Bass Jam. Unexpected song, absolutely something I didn't think I'd hear this year. Yeah.
Okay. What I'll do then, I'll stay kind of in the same lane. I'm gonna go with Celibate by Danny Brown. I love this song Celibate.
Yeah.
The way he plays with the words.
Yeah.
That was my standout track from that album.
It was really, really
Celibate
good. I
was
love
also a great song.
I used to Celibate. It's just such a good song.
So I've lost count. Is this now for me number 6 or
yes?
What are we at?
We're at the halfway point.
Yeah, we're at the halfway point.
So 6.
You'll be
Yeah.
6.
So I've done 5. So you should be on your 6. Yeah.
All right. So in that case, I'm gonna go. Man, this is it's tough because I've got a list, but it's just going through it. It's what do I actually want to put on there?
It's tight now.
Yeah. I think, man, I'm gonna have to go, just into the album that I like so much from this year. I'm gonna go Telekinesis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Telekinesis goes hard.
And I mean everything about it. It's long, but it keeps you locked in the entire time.
Future is better.
Future comes in and out multiple times. That's great. But yeah, for me, this is SZA is one of the tied features of the year. 100%.
Yeah.
I like that.
I agree. I think SZA on Telekinesis is a feature of the year.
It's just such a fucking explosion.
Yeah.
It was a good track, and then it became a great track.
I remember
really
when
intense.
one of my favorite musical moments of this year was showing that to Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she's 3, because it's a long track.
It
is
is.
a long track.
It's
It makes
5
you
and a half,
earn that.
6 minutes. Yeah.
I think it's a good track all around, right?
Yeah.
But I think the beginning is a little meandering, right? And
You do have to get through the track.
I remember, but she turned to me because we were playing games, right?
Your
And
eyes
she just
open.
turns to me but 3 minutes in, an easy minute before SZA comes in, she's like, "This is a really pretty song, with Future and Travis."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Just wait." And then SZA happens, and she goes,
Yeah.
it's
It was a moment. Yeah.
It's 5 minutes and 53 seconds.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Which, so I will say, right, the end of the album, you start to get some of those longer songs.
Yeah.
Schizo is 606.
It's one of the long ones.
And then you get a bunch of slightly shorter things. And the fact that this follows K-pop is just such a turnaround.
Yeah.
K-pop was a weird.
They could have left that out, and it would have been
It
fine.
it was a weird. Well, it was for streaming, but I'm not. It's
I'll get to my take on K-pop in a minute because
Yeah.
like I mostly agree with you guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mostly agree. All right, so is that your
Yeah.
pick? Okay.
Yeah.
So my next one, this is gonna be a controversial pick, especially like in the corners you and me exist in.
Okay.
But I'm picking Toast Us from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Then You Pray For Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why would you say controversial?
Well, because I like it because I see it as like the end of like a story arc. Because
Okay.
this is it's West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, and Benny the Butcher, the three figureheads of Griselda.
And the song together. Yeah.
And they're on this more trap influenced beat that sounds like a lot more like the music that they were competing against.
Mm-hmm.
As Griselda broke through like the dominant trap sound. So then to see these three artists jump on a beat like that
And
then just like steal the thunder, right? Like
Yeah.
no, like I don't think anyone could. Like
It'll be
anyone
hard.
could do that. Like could you take the Migos and throw them on a
No.
Alchemist beat and have them do that good? Top of the AM.
So that's actually, man, that's something I was gonna get into later.
Yeah.
The Alchemist is having an insane year, and like hearing so many different artists work on those type of beats now. I honestly think it's because of people that bring influence like Griselda. So
Yeah.
I like
It
that.
the bars in it are absolutely insane. I think West Side Guns has like a very like unorthodox delivery style that because trap is so regimented,
Yeah.
it like doesn't always work. I think it works amazing here. I have been saying you ain't been to jail once ever since this album.
It's a
dropped.
bar. Like,
You ain't
it
been
is
to
a
jail.
it
Dude,
is
the
a bar.
opening, like top of the AM. What is it? It's like top of the AM. I'm cooking a batch again, rapping and thinking about trafficking. What the fuck? Like,
Is that
says
allowed? Is that allowed?
Who does that?
just to show you that if you're a Trump supporter and still good, I'll listen to you.
Damn.
But
Shots fired. Shots fired.
it's okay. No, Benny, I respect you and like you. It's okay.
Yes,
You
yeah.
vote for who you want. Like,
Oh,
fuck that guy, but vote for who you
I
want.
was talking the fall off of Kanye, but that works.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Fuck
All
Kanye.
the above.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Kostas.
Okay,
It's a
but
good one.
I'm surprised you. I feel like you're gonna say it later. 2004, Mick Jenkins. It's absolute banger of a song.
Yeah.
That album is very high on my list for me this year, and like that. There's the way he plays with like the words and the lyrics. That whole album wrapped up in 2004, and it just feels so Chicago.
It does. It feels so Chicago. It hits. It has that bass drum, man. That
I cannot wait till we see him.
I cannot wait. I'm pulling mask up before the fucking virus.
It's just so
Man.
hard. It's just so hard.
Dude, like
You're gonna have to scream
You
the
be playing
chorus.
spades?
You're gonna have to scream the chorus. Okay.
But yeah, no, 2004. I'll say like to me, I think there are songs that are on that album that I think are more technically impressive on a lyrical level.
But that one's fun.
But
And,
yeah,
it,
no,
and it's
definitely.
just
I think
it's
every song on
entertaining.
that project is fun. But yes, no, that song is as lyrical and the most fun, right? But like you think about like Roy G. Biv,
Yep.
which has like this,
Yeah.
which is it still like
Guapanese.
a
All of them.
Guapanese. I keep mopping these flows.
Bro.
I just
So
give up mopping
hard.
these flows.
I'm gonna be at
Oh my
home
God.
just mopping these flows.
But yeah,
So we're gonna get we're into the top three now, right?
Yes.
So
top four.
Or
Oh yeah, it is top.
Yeah, you got four more.
Okay, so in that case, one that sits just outside of my top four or top three, it's actually not a hip hop song. It's Horizon, which is on the Japan CD of Daft Punk.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 10-year anniversary of Random Access Memories had
Was
a
this
bunch
the
of
drumless?
no.
Okay.
So Drumless came out just recently, but it's literally just cuts of everything without drums.
Okay.
But the 10-year anniversary of Random Access Memories that came out in like May, I guess, is basically almost identical in the structuring to the way Tyler put out the estate sale. So it's like the original album, and then it's a bunch of tracks that didn't make the cut. Horizon came out on the Japan version in 2013, but never in the US until now.
Okay.
So it's like it's around, but not really.
Yeah.
And
Official
it's
release is this year. Or
yeah,
last year.
fully instrumental, and it's beautiful. It's just like they can do so much with so little with no words. It's insane. So that's definitely top 4 for me.
Okay. I like that.
Okay, so for my fourth one, this is an audible I'm calling.
Okay.
Because it was originally Johnny Dang.
Okay.
But after thinking about it, after you said it, there's another song off that same project I want to listen to because I think it is genuinely the most interesting song released in hip hop this year. I think like it is kind of doing the things that Tizo like is trying to do, and that's Barrio.
Oh yeah.
The song that really brings in a lot of sounds from Mexico.
It's good.
A lot of songs of Mexican culture. A lot of like flows switching from like Spanish to English, as well as an amazing guest verse completely in Spanish by the late Lefty.
Okay.
You know, he passed this year. You know, being like one of the most prominent rappers out of Guadalajara. So I think it is an incredible hook. I think like I remember the other day you made a not unfair comparison to that Mexican OT and DaBaby.
The vocally, they not the style,
On
but
the
they
verse,
sound very similar. Yeah,
but I think this is the song that like just proves that there's more there because that hook.
It's good, yeah.
And like just like growing up, because I'm from Melrose Park, which has a lot of like Latin people, and I'm Cuban, so like we always called shit the barrio. Yeah. So like this has been like that was just a stellar moment. It was nice to see like this inclusion of that community in hip hop, and I think it's just a stellar song. You know, it kind of, to me, it was a song that the first time I heard it, I was like, "What is this? Like, do I like this?" No. But then it's the soundtrack.
You're in the bar.
Like dude, if I'm like in my car, I'm like, what do I want to put on? I'm gonna put on this Barrio song. And like it was that was my song of the summer. Just like hot summer days, this song. So
I like that.
Yeah, no.
I feel like there's been obviously they're in different lanes, but like Peso Pluma's been blowing up. Like it's been a nice surge of Latino influence.
Yeah, you're right, and especially because like Latin music, like reggaeton and like Afrobeat, which is obviously much different, but they have very similar musical stylings and dubbing. Like that stuff's all great, but to see it in like hip hop proper, I think is very cool. You know.
Yeah,
I agree.
Confusion.
All right. I'm gonna get my one non-rap song out the way. I'm gonna do "Let Me Go" by Daniel Caesar. I forced you all to listen to Daniel Caesar, and
no, it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, we like Daniel Caesar,
but
Blonde
I
Light,
absolutely love it. Blonde Light, but
Blonder,
basically. Honestly, I think this was a leading single, and to see. Going from just like seeing a snippet on his Instagram to actually seeing it flow within the whole album, and I love the album in general. Absolutely phenomenal song. I think it's one of the better songs off the album, which is very difficult for me to say. So that's be my recommendation.
I got one word for both of you.
Okay, here's the top 3. What are you gonna say? Are you gonna say Fiend? Oh my god,
Fiend! I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited.
Fine, I'll allow it.
I'm gonna make a statement here. All right, the song is silly, it's fun, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is the new "Father Stretch My Hands."
It's a very good song.
When you think about what people play at live shows to like amp up a crowd, it used to be "Father Stretch My Hands." I think this is gonna be the new that.
I don't doubt that. I like Fiend a lot. I think what's on the plate is very good.
Yeah.
It's just it's very hard. It's very hard for me to like celebrate that song when I know there's a better version of it out there.
That is also true.
Yeah, that's like when I just know for a fact, right?
The vinyl version,
and when I just know that there's a better version because like I think Travis's voice goes hard.
Yeah.
Or his verse, I think, is legitimately very good. This is the only Playboi Carti part that I don't skip. Like it is. But like just hearing it with that Sheck West verse, I think
it should have been included.
I think a second Travis verse would have been fine, right? Yeah. Like it just feels underbaked, right? And it's like with food, right? When you underbake something, it's worse when the product is good and just not finished, you know? And it feels like, oh, I actually made something good and then fucked it up by not leaving it in the oven too long.
Luckily, I have the Sheck West version in there. So, yeah.
And like the thing is, the way I was thinking about it, because I completely agree with you. It is hard to put Fiend in there without Sheck West, but I feel like in this.
I think it's just
necessarily
like
a good thing, but I feel like Travis was trying to push that TikTok song because it is the TikTok song, so it functions better as a shorter song. But you're right, Shaq West's verse would have made it so much better.
Yeah, no, it to me it just needed like a third verse. Like it just needed like we always talk about, especially like no offense, you're like it's production, it's about the beat, it's about the music. But I think to have like that incredible beat, only play for 2.5 minutes,
it's a bit
is a disservice to it.
Yeah,
and then he plays it 10 times.
It's literally a disservice to. Yeah, but the thing is, like, 99% of Travis Scott fans aren't going to be able to see it live.
99%, really?
I would say it.
Not be able to see it live?
Yeah,
that's interesting. I'm so curious now what the breakdown looks like.
I'm just saying 99% of like any fans, especially in a global music
totally
world,
globally.
You know, Travis Scott probably has 1 billion fans in India. You know, like
it's like world tour, and you go to like
you
America,
go to
20 cities,
20 cities in South America,
and
you
the
go
rich
to
Asian cities. Like
you go to like Shanghai and Beijing, and then Johannesburg.
Yeah,
and then you call it a day.
And if you're Vic Mensa, you'll go to Africa. You know?
Right.
But yeah, no. So to me, like I think Fiend's a great song. I listen to it all the time. I do really like it.
Yeah.
It's just the knowing, right?
Yeah, totally.
The knowing. And then it's also like what made the decision. And that's just what's salt in my mouth a little bit. But yeah, no, it's a good track. And one I'm excited to see live.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that live. Because DJs have been playing it live all year so far, like all summer.
They played it at
fall.
the United Center for the Bulls games.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, just I want to see the stand shake, all right?
I already know,
Yeah.
I'm going to go crazy.
Okay, this next one was impossible for me because there's so many songs off this album that could be on this list.
Okay.
But
take mine.
The opener does it for me. This is Down by Law off Michael.
Oh yeah.
You know, like there's Don't Let the Devil In, which is basically a Run the Jewels song and has the beat of the year.
Totally.
You know, there's High and Holy. There's Shed Tears, which
I'm gonna get into
it
very soon.
But I just think that opening Down by Law, and just like just the bravado Killer Mike brings to it, the short but incredible statement that CeeLo Green does. It feels Atlanta. It is the perfect opening for that, and it is also like the perfect this is not a Run the Jewels project.
Surprise, bitches.
Yeah, this is like the perfect Purvis puts on this track, and within 30 seconds, he's not listening to Run the Jewels too.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, Down by Law, got to be up there. There was a lot of songs off that album.
There's a lot.
Scientists and Engineers, a lot of songs, but this was the one I went with.
Good old Landlord Mike.
Yeah,
that's our boy.
Since you've already brought him up, it was gonna be my number one song, and I'll just say it right now. It is Shed Tears. Shed Tears. That song is so incredibly hard. Absolutely phenomenal song. I was grocery shopping and just hearing the verse on it and how he went back to his gospel roots with his family and all this other stuff. It's a hard song. And the singing it hit me. I'm not gonna
the gospel arrangements on Shed Tears.
It hit me.
And the thing I like about Mike is that he's just very direct. He's honestly in a way that reminds me of Pusha T. I shed tears every morning in the bathroom mirror, face to face with fate. Had to face my fears. It was me.
Right.
That's simple
real.
words in front of your face.
Yeah.
Right. And far from the realest thing on that album. Yeah. Definitely one of the better songs.
Yeah.
But
he touches some pretty serious.
Yeah. You get the slumber, you get the motherless, you get some real serious topics.
Totally.
Right.
I think even High and Holy, it's not a serious topic, but I think he brings a very, but I think he approaches it very seriously. Mm-hmm. How his connection to a substance increases his connection to his faith.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no. So was that your actual pick?
It was gonna be my number one, believe it or not. Shed Tears, it's gonna be hard to explain
because you're from the church.
That's the thing. There's a whole part of a gospel break that I can't explain in words. You just kind of feel it.
I feel that. So, hey, my number one has gospel in it.
We saw it happen at Chance, my guy.
We saw it.
Isaac and I were probably Anyway,
I'm gonna say Travis is gonna pull out a fucking organ and you're gonna just bawl.
It's like, this is the God Fiend version.
I just fucking start flying over there. Just
praise.
It's that video of the guy just like floating in the suburbs.
Just literally just start floating away like this.
Praise.
God.
Praise.
Lights open up from the top of United Center.
Or like when No Child Left Behind starts playing at full volume.
Yes.
Man. Yeah.
We just all start wearing all white.
That's a. Can you imagine just going to Utopia and wearing all white like the three of us? Can we do that, please?
No, I think
Like, now that you said it, I want to do it now.
I have the all white forces, the Utopia forces.
All right, I guess we're
wear
wearing
my
all
fours,
white.
yeah.
Tell the group chat.
We're all wearing white.
Listen up, White Patrick.
Yeah, we're gonna do something very unflattering to your skin tone in pictures.
Facts. I'm gonna look so pink. It's gonna be great.
Oh my god.
God, I look like a barbecued pig. Number 2, another non-rap song, but one I haven't been able to get out of my head all year. One that I've talked about. I've told you both about. Infinity Repeating. 2013. Daft Punk again. Julian Casablancas singing. This was the unsung Julian Casablancas feature for the entire project, because the one that everybody knows is words escape me. I forget what the fuck it's called. But the Julian Casablancas song, that's like the third or fourth song on Random Access Memories.
Yeah.
But this is like more laid back than that. It's got a great video. The rollout was just super solid. It was one of the singles for the new project, and it's just strong. Everything about it, animation for the video, and like the way that it progresses, the message that it has, and then also just the fact that it's like a demo that was recorded in 2013 and sounds like more fleshed out than many artists have like full songs that sound.
Did they re-record it?
No,
Honestly?
I don't think so. I think it's just an original version because it was over 10 years ago. I don't know how you get, like if you want to get the Strokes to be like, all right, come on back and just like do this thing for us real quick. Yeah. And it's after Daft Punk is already broken up too, because they broke up in 2021. So this is just like they're putting out old content.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is 2004.
Yeah.
I'm still low-key as fuck, dude. What the fuck you want? Song goes so hard.
Yes, it
Song
does.
goes so hard. It's a classic.
I knew you were gonna say it eventually.
Yeah, no, it's a classic. It is like it is probably like the next one is my number 1. This is probably the only other one that's like in order. This is probably my solid number 2. You know.
I'm very excited to scream that at the concert.
Yeah, 2004, 100%. I'm done with that.
Okay. Man, we were coming to like the last ones. I mean, you guys already know my number 1, so I guess I'm just out of order. I'm gonna go ahead and say Kitchen Lights. Kitchen Lights, West Side Gun.
That was a good one. I almost did that.
It is peak West Side Gun, bringing in that dirty sound, but still sound elegant.
It's the most beautiful beat. Like it's obscene. It is obscene how beautiful.
I
that
get
beat
credit. It's like I'm pretty sure it's
Kitchen Lights, Stovetop Cooks, dude. I want Stovetop Cooks to sing at my wedding.
The money looks different under the kitchen lights.
It does look different. Yeah.
Man, that just reminded me of something so funny. That project has Stovetop Cooks on it like so many times, right?
It just needs its own.
Have you all seen the like Jimmy Neutron movie?
Yeah.
Shane, this is the 14th time you've brought Ultra Lord to show and tell.
It's like West Side. This is the 13th time we've heard Still Have Got Cooks on this album.
Just give him an album.
Literally.
Give me 2 more, please.
Oh yeah, okay, but yeah, definitely Kitchen Lights. I'm pretty sure I sent you a TikTok. Someone's at like Vatican City or something, just like playing it in there.
You sent it to my girlfriend.
Yeah, sent it to both of you. And she laughed.
She did, yeah. It was very funny. Yeah.
Oh my god.
If I ever go to the Vatican,
I don't even know if she listens to Griselda. I was just like,
she does.
Okay.
Oh, she does. She likes it a lot.
Yeah.
She's like, that is the music you've introduced me to that I really like.
Hey yo.
Yeah.
Number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I assume you both know this. Modern Jam.
Yeah. I kind of
all day, every day.
Yeah. Modern Jam's a great song.
Other tied feature of the year. Tease a touchdown.
No.
Doing his thing, sounding like 2 different features rolled into one.
Literally.
And simple, old school kind of 80s style rap flow on top of like just the fattest beat.
I like it because it really like rides the beat. It kind of sounds like very old school hip hop.
Yeah.
And also like a dingy Berlin nightclub at the same time.
Exactly.
And then like you have Travis like actually like rapping on it, like doing a very good job rapping. And then you have Tizo who kind of puts it into that more nightclubby territory, almost sounding like the Talking Heads.
Totally.
Something we talked about. I gotta be honest, I think Modern Jam's an awesome song. I think there's one thing. It's not the same thing as Fiend where I think, it needs another part. I think Modern Jam is complete and not half baked.
As a song,
I would love a feature from like an old school artist,
God,
like an old school New York artist.
Grandmaster Flash, where are you at?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And like, because like I'm a joke and like a parody of who I am as a person, obviously, because it sounds like a weird 80s boom bap thing. I think weird 80s boom bap. I'm like, get LP on this right now.
I want it now.
That'd be so cool. Like,
that would like
what does that look like?
Yeah, like, exactly.
I want to know.
And it would fit perfectly, I think, especially if you listen to his solo stuff. But Modern Jam's a great song.
Yeah,
so I think very worthy of a one.
Number one, no question. It's got everything I like. It's Travis.
Yeah.
It's crazy new feature from an artist who's unproven but has cool stuff out.
Yeah.
And it's one half of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
All you need is Kid Cudi and you would just melt.
Just humming in the background at the end under
Start
Tizo.
melting down.
Yeah.
All right. What's yours?
My number one is one of the best songs I've heard in years. It's God Loves You with Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia off Scaring the Hose. That gospel flip from Scaring the Hose. Absolutely.
Purvis, is this not the meme I sent you on Twitter like a couple days ago?
Yes.
The Brandon Lore meme.
Yeah. No. I have not talked about it a lot. Yeah. Scaring the Hose is about to come up.
I know.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it.
So
in my I have no idea what plane of reality you guys were on when you listened to that album. It was fucking incredible.
What are you talking about?
So I'm just gonna say real quick. So just for some context, before you left Twitter, the three of us had a group chat. Since then, it has become a group chat that is just me and Purvis.
Brandon Lord.
For whatever reason, it doesn't do like it doesn't show anymore as like just a regular DM. It's still like a group, but it's just the two of us. And I found this meme that was like the way people do like 3 pictures in like the 4-picture carousel on Twitter. And someone said, none of you are ready for this conversation yet. And it was a picture of the Scaring the Hose album cover, the greater than sign, and then My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I don't know about that.
And I sent it to Purvis.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
And I just said Brandon Lore.
Yeah. No, Scaring the Hose is incredible.
I know.
It's fantastic.
It's very hard, your list.
But like, I gotta point out though that I put this on for the Drake pregame, and you were like, "What the fuck is this? This is incredible!" And I'm like, "This is Scaring the Hose." Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've listened to Scaring the Hose. It's not for me.
I need to re-listen to it. I raw dogged that bitch first thing in the morning.
Yeah, first thing. Yeah,
he was not ready.
I didn't know what it was.
Was meant to be listened to at 2 a.m. off too much Robitussin.
I didn't know.
You're not supposed to listen to it on a run in the morning.
Right. I was prepared. You're going to work, and I'm like, Jasper, this is not the moment.
I didn't know what it was.
I listen to Scaring the Hose at work all the time. Like, it's
not the same.
It's like, what are you listening to? It's like Steppa Pig.
And the hose were scared.
Stop scaring the hose. Play that shit and touch your toes. But yeah, no, easily my. Dude,
that is not a lyric.
Yes,
it is. It is.
It is.
Even I remember that. And
Scaring the Hose, the title track. It was never going to be anything other than God Loves You, because the second I heard, the first time I heard Scaring the Hose, I stopped listening to it and listened to the song like 20 times. Like, it is my fiend. Like,
you busted a room instead of like Smash Mouth, like somebody wants that.
It's like, turn me up. You cannot tell me that sample is not the hardest sample flip of all years.
It's a pretty good sample.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, no, God Loves You, Danny Brown, and also such a dynamic range from Quaranta.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. I already said my number one, so I'll just say my number two. I Know by Travis Scott. I think it is the best song on the album. It's just in my personal opinion. And as Travis Scott is probably one of my most streamed artists like ever, I can confidently, at least for myself, I can put I Know as a top 10 Travis Scott song, which is like saying a lot considering how much I like his music. And I just love the song. I think it flows perfectly.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is I Know the 90210 of this album?
I
Is the vibe there?
Possibly, because at least for me, like, I don't know. I've said this before, and it's really hard to explain unless like you just listen to a ton of Travis Scott like songs. But there is a certain like sound that he can make that's pretty familiar, like 90210, Maria, I'm Drunk.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Drugs You Should Try. Like, it's just they're all fit in a certain bubble, and I know I'm just geeking out. It's on like Travis
the
Scott,
lyrics aren't introspective, but somehow the music is.
Right.
And are you excited to watch him do it live and destroy all the nuance?
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's gonna be like, it's 5 a.m. and I'm drunk as fuck.
Yes, literally. I'm gonna push through it, and I don't care.
Yeah.
If I get any of those songs that I just mentioned, it's just a certain. In my opinion, it's the best version of Travis Scott, and he doesn't do it super often.
Yeah.
And so when I heard I Know, like immediately I was like,
Astro
okay,
Thunder.
this is one of them. Yeah.
Astro Thunder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally, it's one of them for me. Shed Tears was my number one, but I Know it's up there for me.
Yeah.
All right,
All right. That was our songs.
Yeah.
It was a long conversation, but it was a lot less overlaps than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Pretty diverse.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. The next one is probably easier because
seeing as everyone knows because the next category is up and comers.
Yes.
Right.
The
Seeing as
artists.
everyone knows my pick at this point, there is a lot of up and coming artists I want to shout out. But why don't you go first, Purvis?
I don't know. It was tough for me because I was trying to look for someone that was up and coming specific to last year. There's tons of artists that I follow that are like new, but I wanted to see them like take their strides last year. And like, although it wasn't the strongest debut, I have to say Tizo for myself. Everything that he did is so promising and lines him up for a good career. He shows promise within How Do You Sleep at Night?
Yep.
That's what it's called. Yeah. There's a lot of promise there. Specifically the R&B. If he can expand on the R&B, and I think we talked about this on the episode.
Totally.
He can go places in my opinion. And he's I don't want to say cosign because it's used very loosely, but like the fact that he has already worked with such big names, like other people see the promise. So I'm hoping he has a strong developing career, and all of his first steps was last year. So
definitely, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's my pick too.
Yeah,
And
it just makes sense.
I mean, my honorable mention would be like, man, I don't know. It's tough because I saw this is like a much smaller scale, but I saw Matt Muse this year, who's like local, and I think he's destined for great things, but it's like too early to tell, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody of that scale, Tizo's definitely there, and he may not have been my pick up until I saw him like a couple weeks ago, because the presence that he brings on stage and like the way in which he performs is so much of like I get it now, you know, that kind of thing, like in terms of the style and what he actually brings to the table. Yeah.
Is he still opening for Travis?
Yeah, so that's why I saw him.
That's gonna be dope.
Because
he was in town for the.
Is he gonna be doing it Wednesday?
I don't know. I don't know about Wednesday,
okay.
but that's why he was in town for the lyrical show.
Yeah. I remember.
And they scheduled it last minute because he was there prior to the show. He was actually filming a video somewhere.
Okay.
And that was just like a big kind of last minute push. But
I would like him to be the opener still.
super solid.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, just so we get that modern jam. Yeah. So like my pick, I have a few artists I want to run down. So I've already talked about Flyana Boss. They've yet to put out their like big project. They've put like EPs and singles
debut,
out.
yeah.
You know, and they have like a roster of hits that I think are even deeper than much bigger stars. You know, but they just haven't popped off in the way that the artists I'm about to bring up at. But I think they. Honestly, more than anyone else, I'm going to name, even though they're super popular off that viral TikTok thing, I think like they have the biggest potential. I think even more than that Mexican OT and Tizo. But I definitely agree with you guys that Tizo's in that conversation. Yeah. I think just because I have like such a love and lineage and like an active participation in rock music, which he brought a lot of to How Do You Sleep at Night?
Yeah.
And like I just don't think he was all the way there with it, right?
No,
like,
yeah.
When I
We'll
say
talk
like,
about that too,
like I just don't, like I think like Too Easy is the best example.
Yeah.
Where like it's just the most generic AI like stadium rock,
What's
and then
the-
it transitions into
What's the
Real
opening
poetry.
track called again? Gonna do it anyway. That
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
That
The one
is-
was like they asked me if I saw the new Spider-Man
That
movie.
one-
I said I hadn't had the time.
yeah. That first track, yeah, it's basically Say It Ain't So.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
the parallels are there. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's.
but it's just nowhere near as interesting as his R&B stuff, and you
sure.
could just kind
Absolutely.
of tell.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
weird because I feel like, at least for Tizo, all the snippets that he was putting out, I was hyped for. Like,
Yeah.
in that bubble,
Yeah.
in that like 5-10 second video on social media, I was like, this slaps.
And
And
there
then you
are-
hear the full song. And it's
Yeah,
like,
and then I mean there were songs I liked the whole thing. I liked the song with Janelle Monáe. You thought, yeah.
I think that's something that you mentioned that artists get better at as
Yeah.
they get,
Yeah,
through.
definitely.
Look at like Travis snippets versus full songs from like 2015.
Yeah.
Like Rodeo is a classic, obviously, but those songs, in terms of like the refinement of like what makes a hit and what makes like a standalone single, he wasn't there. You know, like I think of Highest in the Room as being like the perfect example of like this is everything that you need to be a hit song in like this amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
And he went from like 5-minute 3500 to like that. And just think about what Tizo's trajectory is going to look like as he refines himself
is
as
true.
an artist.
That's
right?
true.
No, definitely.
Which is good because he has that young influence because he's coming. Not saying Travis Scott is old, but like the fact that Tizo's so young, he can connect to that generation easier.
I think Tizo's older than Travis.
He's yeah.
'Cause
Tizo's
it-
my
I mean,
age.
but that's
yeah, he's
the,
31.
That was a no. He's my age.
But
He's
that's
like
the thing we
he's
talked
several
about.
years older than both of you.
Which
and
is
that was
bizarre.
another big problem I had with
Tizo's
with the
31.
project. Was
He
something
doesn't act his age,
Yeah.
and that's another issue.
Yeah.
I was especially in the rock and R&B lane, both of those genres.
Yeah.
Right. I'm definitely willing to like overlook like not incredible lyricism. Right. Like you thought. I think like it has like that like structure where it's like you would have
lied.
thought it was a racer the way she's speeding or something. Like it repeats like that form a lot, and I think like that's like cool and fine. But I can look over like a cliche or something like if it sounds good. But like the level of immaturity
It is
is
just
like
all
something
over.
I can't
Yeah,
get over.
and I think
Yeah.
that'll improve.
Yeah,
over
100%.
time. Yeah.
I totally agree.
But yeah, I just looked it up. Travis is actually 1 year older than
Okay,
Tizo.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah,
Travis kind of getting up there,
Travis is 32.
getting up
Tizo
there.
is 31.
yeah.
which is bizarre.
Frank Ocean's going to be 40 soon.
Shut up. I don't
I know.
few-
I know.
But a few other artists I wanted to talk about other than
yes,
Tizo.
yes, I'm sorry.
Fly on a Boss, obviously. Joey Valance and Bray
Oh,
put
yeah.
out Punk Tactics this year. It's a very
You brought that up,
throwback to like early '90s, like very Beastie Boys style, like like punky kind of hip hop.
Yeah.
Fantastic. BLP Kosher, I thought had a very strong
Oh, yeah.
debut.
Yeah.
I think he is going to have to beat those one trick pony allegations.
Yes.
but he can beat them.
Puts in the work.
And
Yeah,
then
beat him.
Group Therapy. Group Therapy is a group. They put out their first project this year,
Oh, I've been meaning to listen to that.
and it's fantastic. It's not my top 10. It's not my top 5 projects of the year. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's called I Was Mature for My Age, but I Was Still a Child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% them. So a really strong, and then obviously Tizo. So like obviously a really strong
Lineup of people.
lineup of freshmen. But to me, I think that Mexican OT takes it and runs. I think
That's why he's that Mexican.
yeah,
He's
right.
that
I think
Mexican.
Of
and,
all
like,
the OTs.
Look, I'm not going to pretend to be
That's the one.
objective here. Like being someone from a certain culture that's just not represented in a lot of like mainstream media, right? Like I think it's very cool that he's like doing it and like just doing it so loudly.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
And
that.
I think he's blowing up. And I also
That shit hits.
I also think like Lone Star Luchador, just like on a critical level, is a better put together album.
It is. I
than,
mean,
How Do You Sleep at Night?
even
like-
if it's just for how many moving parts it has, it's like
Yeah.
so intricate. And like even if it weren't executed well, which it is,
Yeah.
it would still be really impressive
Yeah,
in that way.
and like Lone Star Luchador is still not on my top 5
Yeah.
for the year. But it's it has Ralph Barbosa, so like an up and coming comedian doing sketches.
That's dope.
It almost
I like that.
feels. This feels like very because it's not this good, but it almost feels like a college dropout kind of moment.
Yeah.
Where like obviously I don't think it's that good, but
Yeah, yeah.
like it's
a moment for
It's
him.
a new sound. It's fully put together. It's a lot of moving parts. I think there's definitely an argument that like his music is a little samey
Yeah.
But you could say that about literally
of,
all these young artists that we're talking about.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, you could say it about Flyana. You could say it about
Tizo.
You could say it about BLP Kosher. You know?
Absolutely.
So I think there's like a lot of young artists that I really like, and I think there are some that are escaping me. But yeah, so that's it. 2 for Tizo and 1 for that Mexican OT.
Okay.
But I ain't mad at that at all.
The next one is going to be top 3
artists.
overall artists for the year. Now, I think what will be best, because we're going to do round robin for albums. Let's just say all 3.
Let's do it.
Explain them in English.
Were we doing our top, because the top artist is the Golden Nugget. So
Yes.
is it like not your Golden Nugget?
Not the Golden Nugget.
So don't include. Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have to be artists who released this year? Like, if I think someone had a very good year this year for a very specific reason, but they did not release an album.
I think if you have a good reason,
Yeah. Can I go first?
I'm gonna go with that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my first one, because I'm gonna need a second to think about this, is Jid.
Okay.
I think the way Jid's music has been bubbling up organically on social media, like starting late, trend after trend after trend, a year,
Nonstop.
year and a half after the album came
Didn't
out.
surround sound like come back?
Yeah,
or
surround
something?
sound
It
came
is the
back,
number one
and
right
I
now.
really do believe it's because of the ground game, right? Like, this is I'm gonna pivot to like to politics for a second, but like you actually win hearts and minds with like the ground game, and I think the fact that Jid has been touring like a motherfucker, and
like crazy.
Everyone has had an opportunity to see Jid. Everyone I know has seen Jid
All over the world.
You know, everywhere from Lala to the Oregon. You know, I think he popped up again other places, right? Like, I think as far as like an artist performance for the year, I gotta put Jid as one of them, even though he didn't release this year.
Yeah, I like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Should we do all 3?
I'm gonna need a moment to think about the other 3 because
Okay.
I have my Golden Nugget winner and I don't want to say it and I don't want to allude to it.
Understandable.
I'm gonna go the same route of somebody who didn't release. And before you all, cry foul, I'm gonna just say, a lot has been done this year to lay groundwork for next year, and I think that's Kid Cudi.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had pretty strong singles. Not everything has been to write home about, but we've had, Portia Topless, which was a bit of a moment. We've got other things in the works. Insano's slated to come out middle of this coming month.
The comics.
The comics are coming. He's got multimedia rolling out. He's got that Star Trek collab that just happened.
Yeah, true.
He launched Members of the Rage, which is like a fashion line that was available at Complex Con and some other things. He's been performing. He's been at festivals. He's been doing these little like small shows, or he's been doing his sleeper songs or whatever.
He has been active. You're right.
I think he's very much. He feels like somebody who has gotten the pop appeal of his career kind of out of the way, and now he's working on the stuff he wants to work on and kind of building himself as like more of like a multimedia, like holistic. And I think he's been kind of doing that ever since the Scots, because the Scots had the whole Fortnite tie-in and everything. And I think
that just naturally happens when you work with Travis.
100%. And I think he's been like working on the brand Cudi as opposed to just like make good music, make Man on the Moon 4, like stuff like that. So I think that's kind of cool to see. I respect that.
Okay, I like that. Do you have your other 2?
Yeah, I mean, my other 2 are going to be Doja Cat, just because, I mean, even if the album is so-so, I think it's done a lot for her in terms of her image, reputation, everything else, whether it's notoriety or it's actually because people like the content she's putting out. The music videos have all been stellar. The Demons video is really cool, very well done. And the songs are solid. The hits are solid. All the songs that we talked about that we put on our lists, I like all of them. They're not necessarily always in the rotation, but whenever they come on, I'm like, yeah, this is a fucking jam,
Yeah.
I was out at the mall the other day and Paint the Town Red came on over the speakers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And
dope.
I was like, that's sick. The fact that that's like in pop rotation right now, in like the pop consciousness, is very cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
And honestly, I don't even know. Does it even need to be edited? I feel like
Bitch, I said what I said. Yeah.
That
So the edited version says
in the
trick.
chorus.
Trick.
Okay.
I said what I said. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say that's pretty radio friendly anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And the number one for me of like not of the year, but not Golden Nugget, but of these 3 is Killer Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
No,
the album is profound. Run the Jewels got shoes with Nike. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Right,
then
also.
yeah, so do I. I have them upstairs.
Yeah.
And then and
You'll
then,
see how they're displayed in the new living room. You guys are gonna plot. It's gonna be great.
hell yeah.
Whole-
And then you did the whole tour thing where you met him and like everything.
Which
Yeah.
is dope.
So
That's
super
dope.
cool. The fact
Yeah.
that the outreach is there and like the community kind of focuses there is really
Yeah.
great. for
And they've
somebody.
always been present. Yeah.
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 Okay, so I have my other two then.
Go
So
ahead.
like I'm gonna have to second on Killer Mike. You
Yeah.
know, I think the stuff he did with Run the Jewels and Michael,
Yeah.
the way he was able to
He walks the line.
the way he was able to walk that line,
Yeah.
I think was incredible, an incredible walkout. But the other one, it's an artist we talk about a lot, but because he's a producer, I feel like maybe we don't bring him up as much.
I'm gonna take mine.
Is it Metro?
I'm talking about The Alchemist.
You literally took mine, bro.
Yeah, I gotta take The Alchemist.
Yeah.
But dude, he put out Flying Solo. He had
Yeah.
the album with Larry
Bro.
June.
Yeah.
He had Scary Hours. He had the Voidier, which shitty release, but I really
Still,
did like
yeah.
the project.
Yeah.
Not in my top 5, but yeah. So I have to say, if there's another artist, I'm sorry that I colonized your answer, but it's The Alchemist.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. He's done damn near everything. How I felt about Metro last year is how I feel about
The Alchemist,
now.
yeah.
I think Metro still deserves honorable this year
Yes.
for the Red Bull concert.
The Red Bull
Like,
concert.
Red Bull
and
concert
the-
alone.
No, I think the
and
Red Bull
Spider-Verse.
concert and Spider-Verse alone is definitely
True.
noteworthy. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Two big things.
I just think, like, you know, in terms of putting music across, getting music across the finish line, I would 100% say The Alchemist this year.
Yeah.
And like, I've been fucking with The Alchemist for a little bit now, and like, you know,
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. We kind of mentioned it earlier, and I didn't want to like spoil it. But The Alchemist was going to be like my surprise thing for the overall artist, because I feel like what West Side Gun is doing with Griselda in introducing like trap into their music, and they're doing it successfully.
Yeah.
The Alchemist is doing the opposite. The Alchemist is getting people who've never done this boom bap sound, dirty, dark sounds, and just getting everyone to do it.
Yeah.
Like I would have never thought Drake dropping EDM in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's The Alchemist.
no, that's Conductor Williams.
Okay, that could not.
Yeah, I think it's If the Shoe Fits is The
Yeah,
Alchemist. Yeah, it's on the Scary Hours. Yeah.
Yep. It's that, and then I just had someone else, and I forget. But he's been working with huge names. That's the thing, and he's pushing that sound. And I'm not gonna say like other people aren't pushing it, but like I think he's a front runner.
100%. I agree.
Another one, even though Scaring the Hoes wasn't for me, I had to give props to Danny Brown. Like
Yeah.
that man, his range is ridiculous. The fact that you can drop those two albums within the same year and such a different message and impact, and like on top of that, you got your streaming, you got your podcasts, and like you're now an internet presence, and you're about to go tour.
Yeah.
He's doing it all.
Yeah. They're also like, I think like right now they're making Scaring the Hose Volume 2.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
So,
like-
And they dropped the bonus tracks. Right?
yeah,
and
they
then
dropped
dropped
the
the bonus.
DLC pack.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been very active.
Yeah.
Phenomenal year for him. My last one, I've been saying it all year. I don't want to say it died down, but I would say the media wasn't pushing it much at the end of the year. But Lil Yachty has had a fantastic.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic
Yeah,
run this year.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like from the start of the year, he's been dropping so many music and collaborations. He's been in several music videos. The Concrete Boys, he's been pushing everyone underneath his label. He made a whole nother sound that wasn't even, he didn't make a sound, but he worked a whole
popularized.
different, exactly.
He popularized.
Whole different sound that wasn't even hip hop, and he's still in hip hop as a, I don't want to say like a leader, but a main person from last year. So
I think you could call him a leader at this point, not necessarily musically, but definitely culturally.
yeah,
Yeah.
culturally, yes.
I think culturally he's
definitely.
out there. Have you seen the pictures of like I'm wearing silly hats all year,
Yes.
and how that's gotten picked up is crazy.
It's
like
all
the most
over social media.
it's the most innocuous thing, and it's just like, all right, well, I guess this is what people are vibing with right now.
Yep. All right, bet we're
at the
getting
albums.
there. We're getting there.
Should we do our round robin albums really
Round
quick?
robin.
Do you want to kick us off first, my friend?
Yes. I'm pretty sure the first four you guys could guess very easily, but the
Yeah.
fifth one, I was very late to listening to this album, but this has been like on nonstop of all of my like R&B forums and stuff that I keep up with, and when I update the news every week, I try to like look into R&B stuff. Leon Thomas
Ooh,
has dropped one of the best albums of this year.
yeah.
Like, the only reason he's not higher than 5 is because I didn't get to him soon enough to like
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single song on that album has been phenomenal. It has very big features in it, and his singing is ridiculous. I think having that background of like, oh, this is Andre from Victorious, and like seeing him grow as an artist and like develop, and like so many big names want to work with him now. The fact that he dropped his own project and having it be so successful, it it is a great album. That's all I can say.
An album that was very close to my top 5 was Lahai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm forgetting who he is now. Sampha.
Yeah.
Sampha's album. Yeah. Lahai. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely feel that. But is that your 5?
That was my 5. Electric
right.
Dusk.
Jasper, do you want to go? Or do you want me to go?
I can go. I feel like looking at the list, I have it pulled up, just like the grid that's put together of all the different releases.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, where the hell was I? Because I feel like I only listened to maybe like 1/8.
Utopia.
Hey,
Utopia 100 times.
slander, libel.
Nothing came out before Utopia.
But I'm gonna go ahead and just put mine out there of the things that I did listen to on here.
Just number 5 though.
Number 5,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Pink Tape.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it there.
No.
And the reason I'll put it there, there are many other options, but the reason I'll put it there is because the highs of that album, musically, instrumentally, and also just like, I guess in terms of the production, for me, definitely outpace a lot of the lows. And
Okay.
that's because I don't necessarily have the connection to something like original Chop Suey,
Yeah.
or some of the later things, and some of the not I don't want to call them risks because it's not new, but some of the, I guess, the actions that were taken in the steps to creating some of these tracks, I'm not mad at. Like, I actually very much like the song Werewolf with Bring Me the Horizon. I think that's like an interesting way to incorporate.
That's a good song. It's just not a hip hop song.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, because it's in the album, it's like encompassed in the album. It's like, I think that some of those kind of choices of like bringing those elements in are something that I personally actually do appreciate in that way. So for me, that gets the number 5 spot.
I think
I admit that it's very flawed, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think there are things about it, there are attributes that I appreciate.
I mean, based off your explanation, if you have the ability to single out like certain tracks that you want, I'm not mad at that. Because like, For All the Dogs is nowhere near my top 5. But the fact that I'm able to break down For All the Dogs to the songs I actually like, it's significantly higher than it originally was.
Right.
So I'm not upset with that.
Yeah. And I keep coming back to some of it, so it is what it is.
The Chop Suey cover just does it to me.
I
I just can't.
It's
just like, because it's not just bad. It's like borderline disrespectful.
Let's say offensive.
Yeah, no, it is. And like, I guess a question for you would not a question, but like just like I bet if someone made something as disrespectful of a cover of like a Daft Punk song, you probably would write off.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Daft Punk is an interesting choice just because that genre is so much more rooted in remixing.
Sure,
I think.
sure. I'm just like
Just in general,
System of the
yeah.
Down is just like that level of like of like a band for me, where like
You don't mess it up.
They're like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
It's
If you do
I'll
it,
give you the
don't mess
parallel.
it up.
Yeah,
I'll give you the parallel. It's G-Eazy doing Black Star.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it
David
is
Bowie.
G-Eazy doing Black
Yeah.
Star to me.
That's disrespect. Yeah, 100%.
it is like G-Eazy doing Black Star to me.
But that's like aggressive trivializing of like the original. Yeah.
I would say, Chop Suey is a song about suicide in response to, political oppression.
Yeah.
I think that's a very serious subject and like
Don't mess
deserved
it up, bro.
more than what
Yeah.
Lil Uzi Vert gave it. But
Yeah.
And also,
going
I
on,
don't know if Lil Uzi Vert can give the honor that it needs.
yeah, and also like Serj Tankian is like a S tier vocalist in the history of humankind. So like
The one silver lining I'll say is that for younger people who don't listen,
Yeah,
maybe
it
it's
could
like
get
a
you to
gateway-
toxicity,
A
yeah.
gateway to
yeah,
exactly.
it could
Just
get
like
you to
Teasel,
toxic.
yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
look it up on Who Sampled or
Yeah.
Genius, and it's like, oh well, this is what this actually is. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Okay, so my first one, my fifth, I'm going with "And Then You Pray for Me."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Then You Pray for Me. Like Pink Tape, I don't think it's a perfect album. I do think it's a little long in the tooth. Stove God Cooks is there a lot, but
But it bangs.
Look what I
but like
brought.
but like first off, there is an element of like, is he there a lot? Yes. I do like every feature though, right? Like,
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
what
it's
I'm saying.
solid.
I mean, it's good.
Like
solid.
is Future there a lot on What a Time to Be Alive? I don't know. Like,
Maybe.
And like, yeah, I do think it's a long in the tooth. I don't think it needed 3 songs in a row about threesomes. I think it, but
A threesome of songs.
yeah, but I think as a follow up to Pray for Paris and like
Good stuff.
an expansion of the ideas of Pray for Paris, I really liked it. I think he brought in some of my favorite artists working today. with Denzel Curry on Ultra
Jid.
Griselda, Jid, and obviously bringing in all the Griselda talent. Benny the Butcher Conway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. I think there are. I think like the big critique of this is that I think it's a little bit kind of patched as an album. It doesn't feel as constructed as other albums I'll talk about.
If we've seen him,
Yeah,
he
it's
has
not
done
as
in other
tightly
artists.
sequenced. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Cool. All right, going with number 4, The Patience. Mick Jenkins.
The Patience.
I'm serious.
Wow,
The
so
Patience. I'll explain why. But The Patience, I absolutely love. The only flaw, in my opinion, to The Patience is that it's not long enough, and it doesn't have enough.
There is a
but it's okay.
There is a genuine conversation to be had about The Patience not being fully developed.
Yeah.
Like I think like you can not as bad as Fiend, but almost the exact same thing. Where it's like maybe 2004 could have used as another verse. Maybe Roy G. Biv could have had a chorus.
Maybe he wasn't patient enough.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't patient.
But I think it delivers on its concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of what he gives us, the lyrics, the beats, the flows, everything comes together. It's so tightly packed. The only thing that could make it better is if it was longer. But it would have to be meaningful things that he's adding. Like a chorus that brings out some extra pop, some extra color to the song.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting because Mick Jenkins is such a historically very Chicago artist, right? And that doesn't come through in this, at least in my opinion. It feels like it's very much it's so kind of personal and introspective that it fails to take into account the surroundings, and it's just oh, this is his story, his takes, his feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. But I think there could have been opportunity to weave in I don't know, give Pivot Gang a feature or something.
That is
right?
true. Yeah. That is true.
Have something else in there to kind of position it in the landscape of music, I guess.
See, I definitely saw I think 2004 gets kind of close to the drilly sound.
True, yeah.
I think there is a lot of jazz and soul samples. I agree that it doesn't read immediately Chicago is the coloring book.
Yeah.
Or even some Smino work. You know, I can agree with that for sure. But I don't know. I definitely feel that stuff reads very Chicago to me. Yeah.
True. For me, it was glimpses, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe I'm used to the more overt coloring book kind
Chicago
of
is
really
in
puts
your
it in
face.
your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
totally.
True. Okay. But
Your turn.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was deciding between these two for my number 4, but I'm gonna go and then you pray for me also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, I'm on the fence about West Side Gun as a whole, as an artist. I think that he has done a lot in being kind of the front man to shift sound, like we've talked about a lot with The Alchemist and everything else. I think that he also suffers from some of the pitfalls of other artists we've talked about. I think that even though the lyrics the bars are hard, right? But I think that subject matter wise, there's also a little bit of an immaturity there that maybe as time evolves, maybe I'm more of the expectation now that rappers who are a little older become a little more
Introspective.
thoughtful, introspective, whatever. But
man, that's a good point though. Yeah.
I
because
don't,
he's mid 40s and I get it, right? But it's the Pusha T complex of imagine what he could make if he weren't talking about X, So I'm just curious where he goes from there.
It's tough because I feel like West Side Gun, his imagery is so important in how he shows himself off, and I think that's ingrained in the music. I couldn't imagine a West Side Gun album not discussing what he normally discusses.
True. Yeah.
But
is that to his
I would
detriment?
be open to see it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll be open to see it, but it is tough because that's a great point. I was just talking about that when I was getting my haircut last time. I went to a new barber, and he was like, "Did you listen to Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz album?" And I was being honest with him.
College
I was
Grove too, right?
Yeah. I was like, I was honest with him. I was like, I listened to it, but I kind of breezed through it, and he was like, he was saying, I grew up with Lil Wayne, so I saw the development, I saw the mixtape era, I saw everything else. He was like, why is he still talking about having sex with women? You're getting older.
No, that's totally fair.
Give us another message, or a better message, I should say, that suits your 40, 50-year-old lifestyle.
I totally think that's fair. I don't hate that as a response. I do think it depends, right? If you're talking about the over the top sex stuff, Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Yeah. I think if you're talking about like the criminal lifestyle thing, once again, I think as a matter of personal taste, I think that's totally fair. Mm-hmm. I think there's something to be said where I think that is such a wide space and such a realistic and not realistic, but like real and impactful environment on the genre that it is a subject similar to like politics, in that I don't think it's something you can invest an entire career into and still be speaking to it, compellingly. I think that's why Pusha T does it so well, because it's a very narrow focus, but it's a very wide.
It's a wide net.
Criminal enterprises means anything,
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't hate that take, and I definitely agree with like on some levels a lot more intensely.
Yeah,
I just think there is an element of like, I kind of like what he's doing though. I kind of like that this feels.
I agree.
I kind of like that Griselda Records sounds like this is what hip hop would sound like in the 2020s if Kanye never happened, and completely changed the trajectory of the sounds.
Musically, I think it's super interesting, and that's why I would put it at 4.
Yeah,
it's like it's definitely it brings things to the table that just other people simply aren't doing or aren't doing well enough yet. Like there have been how many Hitler Wears Hermeses to like get them to this point.
Yeah.
But it's just that I think personally there may be some limitations that would keep it from being higher on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm gonna get to this one first. 4, I'm giving to Utopia.
Okay.
I am a Travis skeptic, I would say. I would not say I'm a hater because I do love Rodeo. I do like Astro World a lot. And I like a lot of songs off Birds in the Trap. But I am just one who I do not think his impact on the culture is wholly positive. I think it is actually mostly negative. So I'm just very critical of him. And Utopia was the biggest step towards winning me over. Probably a bigger step towards winning me over than Rodeo, even though Rodeo is a better project.
Okay.
Right. So
he kind of proved that he could actually experience.
Yeah, and to me, the thing I go back to Utopia and I really appreciate is it's a really properly sequenced album. It feels like an album. It does. We're just talking about And Then You Pray For Me.
Yeah.
I think it is a bad case, not a bad case. Like it's not a Drake album, but as a case of the streaming sickness.
Yep.
Where it's just like it's bloated, it's long in the tooth. Whereas this is absolutely a corporate produced piece of art that is pushed pretty relentlessly by the labels. I think this is a perfectly sequenced album.
Yeah.
Where as long as it is, it does not feel repetitive to me. Right. And even like K-pop, which I agree is far and away the weakest song on the project.
And out of place, really.
And the leading
single. But that's what I disagree with.
Really?
That is what I completely disagree with. I think Utopia needed that light, fluttery moment at that point right before Telekinesis, which is a really
I'm gonna look at the track list.
Emotionally driven song. I think it needed that moment. I don't think K-pop is like the execution of that, but it's like when you're plotting out like a story for a movie, and then it's like, oh, this has to be an action scene or this has to be a comedy scene, right? Like that decision to make that, to put that there is like one decision, and then how you execute that is another thing. I don't think K-pop was executed that well, but I think that decision is good because I think the album is sequenced very well.
I think
it has very good opening and closing tracks, specifically closing.
Yeah.
I think the way it, the features kind of Magnolia, like much more like in the back half. And I also think Travis put himself front and center in this project, which is kind of deceptive when you look at the feature list. But I think, I think he made a lot of the improvement. And plus, like, lyrically, I think
he did make a big...
This was a huge stride forward in lyricism. Maybe not stride, because I think like a lot of the songs he's released since Astro World 2 here, you've seen like the hints, Highest in the Room, Franchise. Yeah, I think like they all have like significantly better lyricism.
Escape Plan,
Mafia. Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. So yeah, it was kind of like the realization of that, right? I think it is a long album, and I think it's sequenced very well as an experience. If I'm going back to it to just listen to songs, I'm listening to significantly less songs on the album than any of the other on the top 5. For me personally, because like I go back, I listen to Meltdown, listen to Modern Jam,
Fiend.
I listen to Fiend, I listen to
Lost Forever,
and Telekinesis, and the last song.
Till further notice.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
To put that into perspective, though, that is a lot of the songs.
That's
saying a lot.
But no, once again, I'm not saying it's a bad album. But that is like saying, I crunched numbers is like 33%. It's 30%, which is like that's a good chunk. It's a good chunk of songs, Yeah. But like how many Schizo, Sirens, Hyena, all those they just kind of
skip them.
I mean, it's like to me, Utopia is very much like watching a movie. It's like. Yeah, sure. Maybe I just want to watch them, the battle of whatever in the two towers.
Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Helm's Deep, yeah. Yeah, sure. I might not just want to watch Helm's Deep.
It's like highlight reel,
but
a sports event.
Realistically, when I'm doing that, I want to experience the whole thing. So I find a lot of time with Utopia, I just want to experience the whole thing.
That's how I listen to it.
I would say as Utopia is probably the second easiest album for me to go back and listen to. Forward to back this year.
Yeah, this year for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, that's my take on that.
Cool. All right, we're getting to the third round. It's interesting that you say, that early for the patience. So 3 and 4, I keep flipping back and forth. The third one is West Side Gun. And then you pray for... I loved And Then You Pray For Me. And I do realize it is a little lengthy, but I feel like the way that I consume the album... This is probably the most album... the album that I listened to the most this year, or last year, I should say. It was just perfect for car rides. It was long enough to be split to drive downtown and listen to the second half to drive back home. And so it kept me entertained enough. And we've said enough about West Side Gun, but it's a good album in general, but it is kind of long. But that's the only thing. It's the opposite of The Patience. The Patience too short. West Side Gun is too long.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'm on the exact opposite wavelength because I'm putting The Patience at 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. We're just trading.
Yeah, the first time I listened to it, I really didn't care for it, and then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again, and by the third listen, I was like, "Yeah, there's something here."
And it's easy to get through.
It is. It's easy to get through. That's what makes it for me. It's like I love. It's been a trend for me probably since Daytona, or since that string of Wyoming produced projects came out. I'm just like less. Definitely has the power to be more, especially in the landscape of music that we're in right now.
Absolutely.
Streaming diseases everywhere. Look at I don't know, Destroy Lonely is the perfect example, going back to what we were talking about. 30 tracks, each one's a minute and 40.
It's unbearable.
Yeah, and they all sound the same.
Such an optimized,
Yeah, that's not it. It's not the way to do it. I mean, put your heart and soul into something short, sweet, and
brevity is the soul of wit.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, this was up there. I mean, it's got all. I don't want to say it has bells and whistles, but it definitely has the qualities of a really high quality or strong production that's just distilled. Yeah. Really enjoyed it.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This one might be a bit of a shock.
Okay.
But at 3, I am putting Michael.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
What's your explanation?
Well, obviously, Killer Mike probably is my favorite rapper of all time. I have a long history of loving Killer Mike ever since rap music, right?
Yeah.
So when I heard he was putting out, I actually had very mixed feelings about when I heard he was putting out Michael. Because first he put out an EP at the end of last year that had probably the worst 3 songs on the album. It had the Run song with Young Thug and Dave Chappelle, and it had another one. I think it had Motherless, which isn't bad, but it's just
that's heavy.
It's such a heavy song, right?
Yeah.
But goddamn, Killer Mike's my favorite rapper of all time, and I think he really pulled out musicality. I do think a lot of times we have conversations that kind of boil down to a conversation of lyricism and musicality being opposing forces in this genre. That is not true. That is a way we perceive it sometimes.
Sure.
That is just a false dichotomy, right? And I think Killer Mike is the perfect example of that, because the way he was able to go back deep into his southern roots, deep into his gospel roots,
real deep,
bring those forward and approach subjects just so harrowing as he does on Slumber, the realistic depictions of what happens when young love isn't as romanticized as you would.
You might get 3 to 5 songs that a year,
or even
if that.
Yeah, and even stuff that I think is a very serious look at things that are fun, the High and Holy. I think is it's kind of a silly thing about how this guy uses marijuana to go to church, but I think it is a substance that people have used
Yeah.
for religious reasons for the majority of our history on this planet. Like, I think having a serious song about it is worth it.
Yes.
There's also the song about, you know, his past, like selling drugs out of a college. You know, I forget the name. It's the one with Ty Dolla $ign.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I might have pulled up. Or even
But
the
yeah,
one,
obviously, like an inextricable part of Killer Mike for me has been his positions on things. You know, like
Yeah.
he's always been an artist who like put his beliefs front and center, and that's why I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the beliefs he put front and center into this, I disagree with more than other ones, which is why it's probably not the easiest pick for number one in the history of the world for me.
Yeah.
But it is an album I love dearly, and it is an album I respect dearly. So whether or not, you know, yeah, there's some stuff in here that I cringe and I like grit my teeth through, but there's also shit that like makes me beam and like reminds me why I love this genre, and like why I love these kinds of artists. So yeah, like Michael is an easy 3 for me.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Plus, I have a signed vinyl on my wall, so that's pretty nice.
It does help.
Supplementary.
Yeah, nice
In
little,
the shoe, so it works.
Yeah.
Okay,
On to 2.
on to 2.
Your penultimate pick.
To no one's surprise, I'm gonna have an R&B in there. Daniel Caesar, Never Enough.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore this album, and it's one of his best works, which is difficult for me to say about Daniel Caesar. I absolutely loved it, and it's a good balance to take me away from hip hop.
It was a good.
Yes,
It was a good one.
It's a great album. His singing is top notch. The topics are great. The skits put into it, the beat switches, like he put his whole effort into it, and you can. I love when you can tell an artist takes their time, and I felt like he really took his time with this one. So that's my number 2.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
For me, I mean, I think it depends, like, the way you look at this project, but the estate sale.
Okay.
Because as a standalone, if we consider it what it is, it's 8 tracks. It's long enough to be an album by itself, even though it is like this expansion. I think that these 8 tracks stand out head and shoulders above a lot of albums that came out this year.
Yeah. No, I don't
So,
hate that.
so for me, that's gonna be my number 2 pick. And what can I say about it that we haven't already said? You know,
Yeah.
musically, it's there. It feels like the refinement, even though it's extras, of the sound that's been cultivated with this kind of like most recent era of Tyler. And yeah, I go back to it. I go back to songs on it regularly. So.
Yeah.
At this point, I am fully accepting the fact that like if Tyler puts out something, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't miss really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
since
Or he
often.
hasn't since Cherub.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Since
He
Igor.
doesn't miss often.
Since Igor, it's been that way. I mean, Flower Boy. I
Even
feel like
Flower Boy, I think, is a hit.
Yeah.
no, it's a hit, but I think that like the full package deal of like a Tyler album
Yeah.
being like a certifiable quality thing, Igor was like the stepping stone into like full acceptance.
I would say
Across,
that
like,
they're
pop
all
culture.
8 tier, but you're right. It gets better over time. He's just gotten better.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
All right. For my number 2, an album we've talked about a lot. I'm going with The Patience. You know, this was a.
You said it was gonna
sleeper
be
for
high.
me.
Yeah.
I love The Patience. I agree with the criticism that like there could be a lot of stuff. It could be more. Like there could be some songs that like could have used. Roy G. Biv could have used a chorus.
Sure.
You
Would've
know,
been nice.
Mop definitely could have used another verse. I think. Right.
He was mopping the flows.
He just keeps mopping these flows. But brevity is the soul of wit. I think I will always take overly short versus overly long. And the other thing is that, while yes, I do think like there are like ways you could build this album out. It doesn't feel like the Fiend problem to me, where it feels underbaked, where it feels like, oh, like just one more verse would have made this like just like sold, right? So for me, I just the criticisms of it being brief, I think, are valid, but just have never been a problem for me. I like that it's kind of like jazz, where it's kind of about like the shit you don't play. It reminds me a lot of like jazz and poetry. I think it's a very refined, and I think it is a very mature album for a somewhat younger artist.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
This album has the maturity you would find in like Michael or 444 or even Quaranta, which was another honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
Without like the years of like jadedness around it. So I think it really is like the perfect hip hop package of the year. You know, this damn near took number 1 for me. Like,
I honestly agree with everything you said. Yeah.
you know, and just the lyricism, right? Like Mick Jenkins puts lyrics front and center, you know, and the run of features he had. Benny the Butcher did, Vic Mensa. What's not to love? Like he has all my favorite artists on that.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like, and what you said, like, one thing you said was very important to me because I've mentioned it before. There's albums that I listen to for myself, and there's albums like you listen to like in a group setting. This is 100% what you do for yourself. Like, you enjoy this for yourself.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like I went on a drive with Rachel. Like,
I mean,
and we would just put this on, and it was just like you know, vibe to it. But yeah, no, it's an incredible album. It really is. It was a surprise for this year.
Oh yeah.
All right.
What's
your
number
number
one?
one?
The final one.
What is your number one album?
It's
do you two want to say it in unison?
My reasoning might be different. But
I get you guys don't have to do the whole thing, but just say the album.
Yeah.
Are we gonna Super Saiyan right now? And like, you know.
We're not gonna Super Saiyan. Just because I haven't said it, it's pretty obvious. My album of the year is Utopia. For several other reasons that we've already discussed. The most important thing for me was the bounce back. I'm not gonna lie, I was very worried about Travis after Astroworld, and I did not think he was going to perform at this level. I'll put it that way. And it's nice. It was nice to see him actually be successful, and for Utopia to build off his own style, but still be different enough where like I didn't feel like it was throwing away tracks. I don't feel like it was forced. It felt like he actually took his time, and like it's a good album. It's a complete album.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that another thing that it really has that's a strength for me, it has, and this is going to be a weird parallel, but it has the kind of like Blonde situation where like once I start listening, time becomes nonlinear. It's like suddenly I'm at the end of it and I don't remember having listened to the whole thing. Like there have been times I'll put it on when I'm like I'm not sitting in here, but I'm like doing chores. I'll put it on, and then I'm like doing my thing, and then it's like, oh wow, this is already over. Like I just breezed through it again because it's so digestible. And at the same time, it's more musically challenging than some of his other work, but in a good, like a positive way, where it brings in new sounds, and it definitely has elements that are you can attribute to like different settings, right? Where it's like a certain set of these songs work in a party setting, plenty of them work in your own kind of like thoughtful, introspective setting, and everywhere in between. So it's like the IGN kind of like a little something for everyone. But I mean, for me, it goes down smooth, and at the same time is his most, I think, comprehensively different and detailed work in terms of like a full album. So and I can't wait to see the live experience that comes out of it too.
Very excited for Wednesday. I am very
48
excited
hours away.
I will say the rollout too. The rollout was actually quite solid. The billboards.
That's going to be where we differ.
Yeah.
I think the rollout.
Oh well, the film was.
I think the whole thing, and I don't think a lot of it was like Travis's fault, but like the pyramids.
I mean, there's been stuff like that, but right. I mean, I'm talking like the billboards and the print media. I think was really like intelligent.
I just feel like that's a sliver.
True, yeah. I guess the billboards were like very early. So I think about that being like the first thing.
I am very much like we should just talk about the album when we talk about the album person. Sure. So for that, with Utopia, I'm willing to grant that grace, but like I do very much believe that. Like just like I thought the rollout, I was like,
it was nice.
I thought it was a disaster. I was like,
wouldn't call it a disaster. It was just
it got people talking. For better, for worse.
So does an assassination.
I know.
Like
so does canceling a concert.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, everyone was talking about Travis.
Rescheduling a concert, all right?
Yeah,
we're still going.
I don't. That's a.
We're still going.
Okay.
We are still going.
That's a.
Okay. We are still going.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say it'd be rescheduling if you gave us a week of notice.
Yeah,
not 4 hours, not day of.
100%.
All right, Brandon, tell us about Scaring the Host.
It's Scaring the Hose.
We were all very obvious.
Yeah, no, Scaring the Hose is easily my number one.
Yeah.
I went back. all these albums, along with Karanta, Punk Tactics, Lone Star Luchador, Love Sick. All the big albums from this year I went back and re-listened to, but nothing to me like has as much life to it as Scaring the Hose. I think it's kind of interesting talking to you two about it because I know you guys aren't into like the experimental side of it, which to me is very weird because like I'm not very into the experimental side of this either. And I think like one of the things I really like about Scaring the Hose is that it really pushes on the boundaries of like hip hop and experimental, because I think this is an incredibly approachable experiment. Like, if you're gonna call it
For experimental, yes.
I think it's incredibly
I
approachable.
fully agree with that.
I think, yeah, it is a very approachable, easy to understand, lyric dense like album.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think
don't
the
like experimental.
energy on it is insane. Right. Like I think the fact that they just embraced like what they were, you know, JPEG and Danny, like being these artists that are known as like not being commercially viable, and then they say, fuck you, we're going to make the weirdest, most out the box, like,
Let's
this
make
is
it
for our thing,
and
and they're
I'm
gonna love
gonna
it.
say this is gonna be my hot take for the episode, right? Scaring the Hose showing up on the Billboard 100 at all is the biggest financial success, is the biggest like success story in sales of any. It's literally called Scaring the Hose, and it's on the Billboard Top
I think that's
100.
fair.
I
yeah.
know.
I think that is way bigger than any like. Little Uzi
good
broke
take.
the streak. I appreciate that. I think that's he
But
deserves his
that's expected.
flowers.
Yeah.
I think this going onto the Billboard 100, I think is a fucking Herculean. I can't say the
Herculean.
word. Herculean task. Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's make ADHD the music and
Yeah,
make it
first
commercially
off,
successful.
Fuck you. Second,
Am I wrong?
supposed to be like that.
Hold on. Am I wrong though?
no, it is.
No,
it is
literally
ADHD.
is.
Every
yeah.
It
every
literally
10
is.
seconds when you have a little ad lib
Here's
sound
a new
effects thrown in
sound.
there,
It is,
like,
but
yeah.
it's all on beat though. That's the thing,
It,
right?
No, I
it is
know.
on beat.
And
It's
like
on
I
beat.
think it very much opens.
Okay, so
like-
it's ADHD when you're hyper focusing on a task.
yeah.
There you go.
And I think a lot of the bars on it work really well. I love how they just kind of just did their own thing. They did their version of a gospel track.
Yeah.
They did their version of like a pop song in Step a Pig.
Yeah.
They did their version of like the Watch the Throne track with Beneficent.
True.
They
Yeah.
did a straight alternative hip hop track with Where You Get Your Coke From, right? It is maybe not as flawlessly sequenced as Utopia, where like I can get to like the soul bad track on the album and be like, oh, I can see that this kind of thing needs to be here.
Yeah, for
You
some
know?
reason.
I don't know if it's that well sequenced, but it's a Scaring the Hose. Like, it's not supposed to be. Like, it's supposed to be like out of the box.
Yes.
You know, I think Orange Juice Julius with Red Veil. I think Red Veil is awesome. I
That's
think
a
he is
dope feature in general.
clearly you know, if it went Danny Brown handing it off to JPEG Mafia, I think JPEG is going to be handing it off to Red Veil. I think the way they produced it,
Interesting.
yeah. I think
Red Veil's in
I think the only thing that disappointed me about this album was that it has a song literally named "Run the Jewels," based on because like Danny Brown, "Run the Jewels" was on Danny Brown's last album, on the song produced by JPEG Mafia, right? And then that song is just like the worst song on the project, like,
How could you
like
do this
just
to
the
me?
worst song on the project, and they are not featured. So, but yeah, no, I thought this pushed against like like popular music, everything. I also think it is like conceptually like airtight. You know, the Utopia, like, what does it mean? There's kind of a bit about it on the album, right?
There
before
is,
Meltdown, where it's like, I thought we were going to
Utopia is whatever
Utopia.
you
Yeah.
want.
Whereas, like, you know exactly why Scaring the Hose is called that. Like, and they deliver, right? So
They do deliver.
Are those some wet slapping sounds, or are you just happy to see me?
some of the lyrics on that will forever live in my heart. Like, I don't run circle around these motherfuckers. I do figure eights. Like,
What does that
What
even
was
mean?
what are you talking
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Look, I'm not mad at you. You're right. Experimental really isn't in my vein or lane.
Yeah.
I know maybe 2 or 3
Yeah.
experimental albums that I like, but I do respect it. I respect the hell out of Scaring the Hose. It's not for me, but like if someone was to say it's number one, I get it. I really
yeah.
do.
Yeah. So yeah, no, easily my number 1 album of the year, Scaring the Hose. Also the best cover art. Easy the best cover art.
It is the best cover art.
Yeah.
That I'll give
Big Black Klansman vibes.
Yeah. All right.
it.
So, albums of the year, 2 for Utopia, 1 for Scaring the Hose. Shall we get to the Golden Nugget?
Golden Nugget.
Yeah.
Do I have to go first? Who wants to go first?
You go first.
Okay.
You're the HNIC of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm the 34%. This was tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, just because I don't want to say no one deserved it, but no one like really stood out for me to make me think like hands down. Like last year, it was easily Jid for me. I was just like, Jid is my golden nugget. Like it's my golden boy. One of his best albums dropped, etc. For this, I couldn't decide. I was thinking. I'll briefly mention honorable mentions. I was thinking Danny Brown for a while, just because his range is ridiculous. Everything he did has been phenomenal this year. I just didn't like one of the projects because it's not for me. That doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, it's gonna be Travis Scott. I'm not gonna lie. I think what it meant for Travis Scott to have a successful year, I don't want to say it was more important than other artists because every album is important to every artist. But I will say this was a make or break moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, if this album came out and it was bad, no one was going to let him get away with killing six people.
Yeah, it was a make
only
or break
6?
Yeah.
It might have been more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And with that being said, the fact that he was able to navigate through all that and actually give a very good project and all the extra stuff that he's been up to, I have to give it to Travis just because it meant not taking away from...
The stakes were higher.
The stakes were higher. Like, I feel like a Michael was so important to Killer Mike. Like, that's a huge
It's a very
deal
personal
for him.
stake,
Exactly.
yeah.
100%.
And I love that for him. And so he had a great year. But, like, if it wasn't as good as it was, no one would have done anything against Killer Mike. Like, you would have still been a fan.
Yeah, Run the Jewels 5 was still going to come out. And
He would have a career.
You would still be a fan of him and you'll ride behind him. The fact that this meant everything and he succeeded, I have to give it to Travis.
Well,
I feel pretty much the same way. I would just say that, like, in addition to that, leaning into new artistic styles and kind of like branching out a little bit in terms of sound, in terms of the media that kind of comes out with your project, for better, for worse, obviously, for worse in some cases. But just using all of the resources. Here we go. Using all of the resources that are available to create art, whether it's new, more the same, more or different in some way. And not every artist who operates at a scale as large or larger than Travis does that, as I've talked about many times. Yeah. So props for taking risks.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you're giving your golden nugget to Travis as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is Danny Brown.
Yeah.
It is 100%
Great
Danny
answer.
Brown. Yeah. Karanta was, it was, and Then You Pray For Me or Karanta or Lahai. It was like those three were like battling for fifth. And ultimately I did just listen to And Then You Pray For Me a lot more than Karanta because it is like, it's one of those very personal albums, and it came out very recently.
Yeah.
But just being able to produce something like as out of the box, insane, full of energy. I mean, like, I think Scaring the Hose, like as critically, as objectively, quote unquote, I think has as much energy as Utopia. And that was made by a 40-year-old man and JPEG Mafia in their room on a 30-year-old piece of recording
in a
equipment.
cave out of scrap.
Yeah. And then he did a second album.
Right.
And then he did a second album.
Just as insane for totally different
laying
reasons.
his soul bare, like
I'm
something.
so curious how long each one of those was actually being worked on for.
I am under the impression that Karanta has been in development for a long time.
That's
I
what
think
I
it was
think,
supposed to come out a few years ago.
It feels that way. It totally.
And then
feels
of
that
course
way.
there's also like he has like a streaming a show that like he has like the only one of the few podcasts I actually listen to. Right.
Yeah, it was a good podcast.
The tour, even though I am mad at him for not coming to Chicago, the tour was a huge success, right? And like once again, I still think like if we want to talk any kind of commercial success, I think Scaring the Hose breaking into a top 100 is a bigger success story than anything Doja Cat or Travis had this year.
Commercially,
or like little. I think like that. Yes, it's a lot smaller scale. I absolutely 100% think if Scaring the Hose came out, it was a wet fart. Like JPEG would still have his weird fans who like him to spit in his mouth. And like Danny Brown would still have Detroit. Right? Like but like
we're sending you back.
Yeah.
Not Detroit.
Yeah, he would still hang out with the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah.
But just being able to put those two, and I don't want to like overshadow JPEG and his contribution to Scaring the Hose, but like it was at least 50-50.
Yeah.
And like personally, I've always just been the bigger Danny Brown fan. I've went back and I re-listened to all of JPEG stuff this year, and like I like him. I think he's like cool. He has a lot of influences from non-hip hop genres that I really like.
Yeah.
You know, but like Danny Brown has always been the one I really liked as far as alternative hip hop.
Yeah.
So seeing him have this moment where he puts out multiple radically different, radically notable albums,
Yeah.
I'm just so happy. You know, I'm so happy the person with my second favorite One Train verse has gotten to this point. You know.
I agree.
Scaring the Hose very much reminds me of that Family Guy bit where it's like, play me off, Johnny. And it's like they do that. But it's like, play me off, JPEG. And it's just like buttons on a mixer.
It's just like, ah!
Yeah.
Just screaming. I'm going to listen to that on the way home. I'm so excited. Like, and also it just added like I know like Scaring the Hose is like was part of the lexicon, but I think it cemented it. It's just like a great.
It's a good meme.
Yeah, just like a great statement. And like I love that they were just so self-aware about it. I love that it's like, oh, this shit's gonna scare the host. It's like we're calling it.
The amount of texts I've gotten from you last year, I'm just like, guess what I'm doing? It's like, what? I'm scaring the hoes. I'm just like, Brandon.
I also love.
Like,
I also loved. If we're talking about like online communities, I love that like every single female music reviewer listened to that album and was like, this hoe loved it.
And
Bro,
dude, that's so funny. It's like breaks into the top 100. Mr. President, sir, we have a situation. What is it? The hoes aren't scared, sir.
Yeah,
they
aren't scared. They're getting very brave. Get Red Veil. Put Red Veil on more songs. Like,
oh my god.
yeah. Oh yeah. I think Utopia scares the host more than Scaring the Host, actually.
I think so too.
Yeah. You agree with me.
I do agree with you.
We are on the same side of this.
I think the song.
I've brought this up before.
I think the song Schizo is like.
Yeah, it's genuine.
The tipping point.
Yeah.
That's a big point.
Oh, Sirens. I love Sirens. I think it's a great song on Utopia, but like I put it on.
The repeating noises.
And like Rachel is like, this sounds like you're gonna drink Monster and punch through your walls. And I'm like, yeah.
That's exactly what I want to do while listening to this.
Which is so funny because right before that you have like the most Kanye-esque opening to a song where it's like every night I look up in the sky.
The man's
like
insane.
Something literally off of like a 2018 Kanye song, and it's like, all right, now we're going into repeated squeaky toy noises.
Amazing.
We had some good albums this year.
Yeah.
We really did.
It was. Everyone was talking about how it was a slow year.
The start was
slow. It started slow.
It started slow.
And it got
at the end, I think people were just had like weird expectations from last year. Because
Yeah.
last year was when everyone was delivering their
The
pandemic project.
Yeah. So here's a question. Does this coming year, does it get more normal or does it still get weirder?
I mean,
Because this year was a little weird. We got some weird stuff here and there.
Balance out.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think we've gotten a lot more weird stuff this year than last year.
True.
The thing is, like, what's coming down the pipeline?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like, we have vultures we're gonna have to deal with.
Where's the new Cardi album, guys?
Yeah.
I was literally about to say Playboy Cardi, ASAP Rocky, J. Cole, Future and Metro Boomin, like all of the typical big names that we didn't
So
get
maybe
last
we get
year.
a more consistent year. Yeah.
But we're always gonna get a good level of like the personal.
Jack Boys
I
2?
think it's just like, you know, what is going to be the big name next year? I think like
New Weekend?
maybe. I hope so.
It
I think it's likely.
That's another one.
That's a
It's
very
time.
likely one. Yeah, it's time.
Also Tyler.
Tyler.
Potentially.
End of the year. I think the
He's every 3 years.
I-
Isn't he? 2 years. Every 2 years. Okay.
but I think the estate sale has definitely broke
broken
that
that.
back.
If that counts, yeah, true.
I don't think it counts, but I definitely think
That's like what he's using it for.
I definitely think it's a way to garder favor with his fans while he spends more time on his next album,
That's
which
fair.
personally I support.
I'm cool with
think
it, yeah.
that is
Nothing
fine.
against that.
I have zero problems with that. I would love another Big Crit album, but he just released one through crypto, so we'll see.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, no.
I mean,
New
Jim
Belly.
Metro too.
Yeah.
They said
We didn't talk about the Belly Project.
The Belly
Didn't
Project.
talk about the Belly
Oh yeah,
Project.
I think. Well, because the Belly mixtape did not end up at my. None of the songs did. I think.
Just like
I
me hits.
think he has a project coming out next month.
Yeah.
I think it is finally primed to be Belly's moment. I think it should have came late last year.
Yeah.
It's Belly's a Palestinian immigrant, and it's about his experiences, and obviously a lot of stuff is going on in Palestine. But I think it's his moment. So I think Belly is the most excited release I have for this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we normally do it every year. We're gonna have an episode for expected releases, I guess.
Yeah.
Totally.
We'll do it sometime this month.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll probably after the Travis Scott episode, we'll do an episode where we'll do like our what do we anticipate kind of thing. But all right.
Cool.
That's the special.
Welcome to the special. What a good vibe.